A fair boy of about 12 was snoring on the bed. Large eyes, thin lips, and 3 symmetrical stripes on his cheeks. Naruto, we have problems. The demon fox said to the boy's subconscious. Naruto, Madara and Kagaya are attacking. The Nine-Tails screamed, causing the poor boy to jump up and get into a fighting stance. Kurama, you flea-ridden rug, why are you yelling like that? Uzumaki muttered. Because you don't wake up, and also because I feel Kushina's chakra and you look like a 12-year-old brat. With each new word, the blonde's eyes widened more and more. Come to me. The boy followed his friend's advice, finding himself in his subconscious. What's going on? Naruto was about to tear his hair out when he saw the reflections in the water. It seems we are in another world. I ask you not to stand out until I figure everything out. Chakra and all your power are with you, although I don't know how this is possible. I need to sleep. And once again, I ask you not to stand out, said the fox and laid his head on his paws. Wait, what did you say about mom? This was probably the most important thing for Naruto. I feel the chakra of your mother and father and they are not far away, do not attract attention and do not disturb my sleep. The fox growled. Uzumaki came out of his subconscious and there was a knock on his door. Come in, the blonde allowed, the knocking stopped, but the guest was gone. A minute later the door opened. A female figure with long red hair, in a green sarafan and apron appeared in the door. Mom, the voice trembled, and in Naruto's head there was only one thought, how not to throw himself on her neck and cry. Naruto, it's time for breakfast. Her voice also trembled, because her son did not allow her to enter the room. Yes, good, he smiled his signature smile, which made Kushina feel uneasy. The woman very, very rarely saw her son smile. If she did, it was very weak and barely noticeable. The woman left her son's room. Uzumaki got off the bed and went to the closet, but what he saw really disappointed him. His eye even twitched. Not a single bright spot. Nothing bright at all, only black, gray and white. Naruto sighed and put on black pants and a white t-shirt and went downstairs. When he entered the kitchen and greeted him, Kushina answered, he saw his father. He looked at him with coldness and rejection. He saw a girl the same age as him. She was an exact copy of Kushina, only her eyes were her father's. An omelet was placed in front of Naruto and he pounced on it. He would have given a lot for home cooking. Naruto, are you going to the academy? Kushina asked, and just as the younger blonde was about to answer, he was brazenly interrupted. Why would he go there? He doesn't know how to hold a weapon in his hands, he doesn't know how to use techniques, this girl said. Uzumaki choked on his food. There were several more unpleasant statements addressed to him. He could no longer tolerate this rudeness. Minato knew that now snot and tears would begin and in the end Kushina would go to calm her son down. Having swallowed a piece of omelet, he wanted to say something, but remembered Kurama's words not to stand out. Oh, now someone will cry and it will be loser number 1. The girl sang innocently. Naruto gritted his teeth. Naruto, watch your language, her mother barked at her. Mom, you don't get offended by the truth. I'm right, mouse. She spat out the last word with all her hostility towards her brother. Kurama saw that Naruto didn't want this. Watch your language. Naruto stood up from the table and gave Naruto a lightning-like look. Kushina dropped something from her hands and Minato choked on his coffee. Naruto's eyes widened. Her brother never responded. He would just leave and start crying, or maybe he would just keep quiet. You're a loser. Are you teething? Naruto also stood up and now lightning flashed between their eyes. Naruto. Kushina turned around and now her gaze was scary, and her hair rose up and divided into 9 strands. Thank you, it was delicious. I'm going to the academy. Naruto left the table and made his sister gasp for air. The Jinchuriki left the house and slammed the door, heading to the academy. Naruto walked through the village. People looked at him askance. He had almost reached the academy. It was still in the same place. He entered the classroom. People were smirking at him. Naruto himself was attracted by the guy with black hair sitting by the window. By the way, he also turned to Uzumaki and looked him straight in the eyes. The Jinchuriki went to the guy and sat down next to him, and the poor blonde was showered with screams from his classmates. Naruto was literally burning the top of the brunette's head, but he now did not look at him, but turned away. You've been chasing him for 4 years and now you don't recognize him? The fox asked. The blonde smiled. How are you doing here? The blonde began the conversation. The brunette turned around. Hawk. The brunette chuckled. We live under the same roof with Itachi, and then added, Fox. It's good to see you Sasuke. but their conversation was interrupted by a girl with pink hair. She began to look for someone with her eyes. And how many of ours are still here? It was a rhetorical question. The pink-haired kunoichi approached the two boys, then froze and looked at them. For about 3 minutes they played a staring game. Why are you frozen? Sit down, Sasuke said in a casual voice. The girl sat down and did not take her eyes off the guys. Sakura-chan, it's us, Uzumaki whispered in her ear. The girl exhaled as her new sister entered the classroom. The girl simply glared at her brother. She just got into trouble with her mother. She got into trouble hard. It's for me, Dadbeo, the blonde rolled his eyes. The bell rang right as Naruto's sister walked in, followed by Iruka. He noticed that Namikaze was sitting with Haruno and Uchiha. Phenomenal. Iruka announced that there would be sparring today, and tomorrow would be an exam. Naruto's first fights were uninteresting. The first of their company went Sakura. She knocked out some kid on the first try. Then there was Sasuke. He fought with some boy. But when Naruto was called, everyone started whispering, and when the opponent was determined, it was Kiba. It was already known that Kiba would tear this mouse apart. That's what his peers called him, but Sasuke and Sakura felt sorry for their opponent. They knew that Kiba would not win this fight. Give up, you can't beat me. Or do you have extra teeth? Naruto thought, asking for trouble, and called him over. The Inazuki didn't keep him waiting. Naruto caught his fist, and then the second one, and twisted them. This made the dog owner fall to his knees. Everyone was in great shock and with their mouths open, especially Naruto's sister. Yesterday he couldn't hold a kunai properly, and today he made a show-off kneel. Iruka-sensei, should I knock him out? Naruto asked with a slight smile on his face. Poor Naruto's eyes popped out of her head. Her brother couldn't hurt a fly. That's why he didn't want to be a shinobi, to maim and kill on missions, and now he's asking whether to knock out Kiba or not. I can break his arm too, Uzumaki thought and twisted his arm a little more. The poor guy whined. No need. Naruto Namikaze won. After these words Uzumaki and part-time Namikaze let go of Inazuki. The blonde approached Sasuke and Sakura. The brunette chuckled. Congratulations, you got the kid on his knees, Sasuke quipped and patted Naruto on the shoulder. The sparring ended and the future team of 7 went to the training ground, but unfortunately Sakura was not with them, because she was expected at home. So the guys went on their own, but Naruto decided to keep an eye on her little brother. She couldn't imagine how a person who didn't know how to hold a kunai yesterday won a sparring match today. Naruto and Sasuke went to the distant training ground. Well, Hawk, shall we begin? Naruto clearly liked this. Taijutsu, and then, the brunette asked. Weapons, and we'll try with techniques, and maybe we'll approach the elements. Uchiha nodded at this. Almost 2 hours of close combat, and then they took up weapons. The entire training Naruto's jaw was greeting the ground. To her regret she did not hear the conversation between her brother and this Uchiha. Maybe now techniques and elements, Sasuke suggested. The blonde nodded and created a clone. How surprised Naruto was that Naruto could use techniques, especially forbidden techniques. You better not do that, I've detected the chakra now, I'm sure, Kurama warned. Sasuke, Naruto called Uchiha. Surveillance, Naruto said quietly. Uchiha nodded. Home, that's enough for today. The blonde smiled and Sasuke nodded. Naruto realized that they would be leaving and rushed home. She was late for dinner, so she was going to get in trouble, but what did she see? Kushina walked around the house with a cast iron frying pan. Minato tried to calm her down, but she threatened him with this weapon in her hands. Naruto flew into the house. Where have I been? Kushina's hair began to rise up. Naruto and Uchiha Sasuke were training and fought first in close combat, and then with weapons. And Naruto used shadow clones, in one breath laid out all the information about her brother. Kushina stopped, and Minato got up from the couch. What? Naruto and Sasuke fought, the red-haired girl said in disbelief. They seem to have spotted me, but I don't even know how. Minato wanted to say something, but before he could, a shabby Naruto entered the house. Hello everyone, the younger blonde looked away from everyone. Where have you been? Kushina barked at him. Well, I trained with kunai. In short, I was at the training ground. Naruto almost told the truth. But the younger Uzumaki got it from the weapon. The entire Namikaze Uzumaki family went to the table to have dinner. Naruto, what do you know about shadow clones? Minato decided to ask directly. We found a mouse. Your sister gave us away, the fox commented. Shadow clones. Well, they're cool, Uzumaki answered with a crooked smile on his face, but the Hokage clearly didn't like this answer. I got out of it, Kurama grinned. Throughout dinner, Minato kept glancing at his son, but remained silent. I went to the bathroom, the blonde said and hurried to the designated room. After taking a shower, Naruto hurried to his room. Imagine if your little sister saw the rasengan and Chidori. Your father would have so many questions, said Kurama. I can imagine. Okay, tomorrow is the exam. Good night. The blonde turned over and began to snore. Good night. Comment to 1. Introduction or first training. Write comments. 2. Genin exam or hello sensei. Today Naruto was the first to wake up when he came out of the bath. The younger blonde bumped into Minato on the stairs. The Hokage himself almost knocked his own son down, but Uzumaki was saved by his reaction. This greatly interested Namikaze. Sorry, Naruto said and rushed off to his room. He came down half an hour later. All this time he was discussing today with the fox, and then he left. Minato was drinking coffee and reading the newspaper. Kushina was cooking eggs. Naruto sat at the table and tried not to look at his father. He just can't look into those blue eyes, which emanate coldness and contempt. Then Naruto came into the kitchen. Are you ready for the exam? Kushina asked with a smile on her face. Of course, if dam ekfamin and ft ana phenobi, and fatum hokaf, Naruto said automatically. Poor Minato spilled his coffee and choked on it, and Naruto choked as well and dropped her fork from her hands. Kushina looked at her son with great shock and now Naruto realized what he said. Oops, he said too much. Idiot. Uzumaki, you're a complete idiot. Why do I need such a Jinchuriki? Kurama howled. Okay, thanks, I still have an exam. The younger blonde jumped up from the table and ran like a whirlwind to the exam. The whole family remained sitting in complete shock. Flashback. I will never be a shinobi. Especially Hokage. It's a terrible position. The boy screamed in tears. Minato was simply at a loss for words. His son had said that he would not be a shinobi, and now he had insulted the title of Hokage, and therefore him. The boy ran to his room in tears. Flashback. Naruto ran into the classroom, almost knocking over Iruka in the hallway, and then 2 people in the classroom. Sasuke. Naruto shouted, and he looked at him and raised an eyebrow. My sister caught us, Uzumaki said in a whisper. Why are you so happy? Naruto noticed that this Uchiha was in a good mood. What do you think? If everyone thinks you're a disgrace to the clan, and you have the strongest eyes, what kind of mood were you in? Sasuke asked with a sly smile, but they spoke quietly so that only each other could hear. I don't understand, and then before Naruto could finish speaking, Sasuke closed his mouth. Idiot, he muttered. He hit it, the idiot, the fox yawned. Even I can feel his eyes. I see you've already been enlightened, the guy chuckled. Suddenly, Sakura flew into the classroom at the same speed. What do you have? Naruto sighed, apparently he had nothing new. I awakened the Byakugo, the girl said barely audibly, or rather squeaked. Ah, what is this? The blonde couldn't stand it anymore. Naruto, what's wrong with you? The girl was surprised. The blonde buried his face in the desk and covered his face with his hands. This one has eyes, Uzumaki pointed at Sasuke, but he himself did not look at him. You have a diamond, he said just as quietly, but this was no longer necessary, because the class began to buzz. Okay, get mad, Uchiha chuckled. Because you're an idiot. You have all the Biju chakra, all 9 of them. You know how hard it is to hide it, the fox commented. If I open all the sensors of all the villages here now, your dad will be the first. What? Naruto immediately perked up. Now that's a different matter. Now the blonde was flashing his signature smile. We were caught at the training ground yesterday, Sasuke said to Sakura. Did you show your techniques? The girl became agitated. The brunette just shook his head. Who is this snitch? The kunoichi clearly didn't like this and began rubbing her palms and flexing her fists. There, Naruto pointed at his sister who had entered. Naruto was glaring at her brother again. At first she didn't like him saying he wouldn't be a shinobi, humiliating the Hokage title, and now it was the other way around, and yesterday she saw him training. Naruto had only one question, how he had to get his sister to get to this point. He was also thinking about fixing that. Iruka entered the classroom and was also glaring at Uzumaki. Well, yes, the quiet one of the entire academy almost knocked down the Chunin. He announced the start of the exam, the test section. 30 questions, they give an hour and 45 minutes for that. Having run through all the questions, the Anbu captain needed 10 minutes. The blonde approached Iruka and handed over a piece of paper. Naruto, Sit back down, I don't have any answers, Yumino replied without looking up. Naruto, here, take everything from me and Sakura. Sasuke handed over 2 sheets of paper with the test. Iruka looked up in surprise. Here we go. Uzumaki shoved 3 sheets of paper into the surprised Iruka and all 3 left the classroom. Iruka ran and checked the tests, stood up and simply couldn't believe his eyes. This simply can't be, the teacher declared, and all the students stared at him. Naruto, were you the one who helped your brother improve his studies? The girl blinked her eyes. Why, no, now nothing fits at all, Naruto simply couldn't write the test. Okay. Naruto, what are you doing here? Mizuki looked in surprise at the Hokage's son, who entered the classroom. Imagine, I came to take an exam, the blonde grinned. But only 15 minutes have passed since the test, Uzumaki only sighed at this statement. Okay, show me the clone and henge. If you show him the shadow one, I won't give you any more chakra. Don't you dare show him the shadow clone. Kurama threatened. The normal one. The blonde got 1 clone, but Naruto is not given to make these clones, but shadow ones as much as you want. And Henji transformed into Minato. To Mizuki's surprise, Naruto passed the exam well, just if he had made 2 more clones, then it would have been great. He took his headband, smiling, happy. Sasuke and Sakura also passed the exam and they had to be alone in the office for about 2 hours and wait for everyone. When all the students were here, Iruka made his speech. And the most terrible distribution began. Team number 6. Aburame Akira, Hyuga Hiya and Namikaze. Naruto's whole life flashed by. How would he deal with people unknown to him now? Naruto, Iruka finished, as if a weight had been lifted from his shoulders. Teacher Obito Uchiha. And here our heroes got busy. It looks like Madara's plan failed, Kurama said with a hint of joy. Team number 7, the boys began to bustle about again. Uchiha Sasuke, Haruno Sakura, and Namikaze Naruto. Teacher Hatake Kakashi. Sasuke held back his emotions, but smiled, Sakura smiled, but Naruto's face reflected a trait of treachery and revenge, which surprised Yumino and his teammates. Sasuke realized a little later what his cunning friend had come up with. Verdict. Henna to you Kakashi. The guys saw Rin and were surprised to meet her. Now his sister's team and themselves were left in the office. Obito came first, the poor 7th team's jaw hit the floor. No one understood such a reaction, especially Obito. When their team was left alone, they decided to carry out their plan. Get the line. Now we'll give Kakashi a warm welcome. Sakura, get some water, I'll prepare a few seals in the meantime. The girl left the classroom. Uzumaki prepared several seals, they hung a bucket and hid them. Sasuke prepared a fishing line, he thought to conduct electricity through it. They managed in half an hour, as they heard footsteps in the corridor. Sakura and Sasuke used the Misagakur technique, but jutsu. At this time Naruto prepared 2 clones and they took the form of Haruno and Uchiha, and then lay down on the desk under the guise of, we are tired of waiting, so we sleep. Kakashi saw this picture and just chuckled, as water poured out of nowhere and lightning struck him. The genins couldn't help but laugh, but unfortunately it was just a clone, and then an enraged Hatake entered the office, because the sensations were transmitted. I don't like you. He thought they would stop now, but they started laughing even harder, which completely knocked Kakashi out of the real world. To the roof, he said and disappeared. 3. Competitions bring sensei or report. Kakashi was already waiting for his new charges. Our guys were in no hurry at all. They discussed a plan to make Kakashi believe that they would never work as a team and generally bring Hatake to a heart attack. So introduce yourself, Kakashi asked in a calm voice. Maybe you. Sakura made puppy eyes. After your prank. Although okay. My name is Hatake Kakashi, what I love. Before he could finish his monologue, Naruto interrupted him. Read perverted books, and you yourself are a hidden pervert. You don't like it when friends are betrayed, Sasuke continued. And your hobby, as Naruto said, is your perverted books, Sakura continued and they all smiled sweetly and triumphantly. Kakashi chuckled, but didn't show that he was a little excited, although there were a lot of questions. How did they know all this? The dossier says that Naruto is quiet and generally wanted to do anything after the exam, just not to be a shinobi. Sasuke is one of the best students in the academy, but he doesn't have a chance to awaken the Sharingan. Sakura is an ordinary girl, she doesn't have any special techniques, only good chakra control. You guys know a lot. Now it's your turn. They looked at each other. Sasuke Uchiha, the best in the team, love him or not. None of your business. My goal is to capture tomatoes and become their king. My hobby is, well, revenge. Naruto chuckled and turned away from Sasuke. Kakashi realized that he got a team of show-offs, although for now he was alone. Sakura Haruno, how can I say, you, sensei? The boys almost fell over laughing. Seeing how Hataki's face turned pale and then green, he cleared his throat and continued listening. I don't like when they're late, and my dream is to outdrink Tsunade. The guys barely held on. Wait, what did you say about Tsunade? Kakashi thought he misheard. Outdrink Tsunade Senju, Sakura said with confidence in her voice. They are simply making fun of him. Surprise me, Naruto, the son of the White Fang sighed. Knowing that there would be another incredible story to come. I'm Uzu. Gurk. Namikaze Naruto, I like ramen, I don't like when ramen curses me out. The third story, nothing new. And my dream is to gather all the tailed beasts and have a party, but that's in the future. And now I want to put some brains in someone's head and prove something. Now that was interesting. Okay, talk as much nonsense as you want, but tomorrow at 5 at the training ground, and you better not eat anything, you'll throw up. He expected to see serious faces, but instead he saw that they were making fun of him. No matter, he'll get it back on them tomorrow. They may have a sharp tongue, but they still don't have teamwork. Just as Kakashi was about to leave, he was stopped. Kakashi-sensei, if you're late, I'll burn your books, Naruto warned with a sweet smile, to which Hataki only snorted and then disappeared. He thinks I'm joking. The blonde exchanged glances with his partners. We're going to his house. To which Haruno and Uchiha grinned. Take care of your books, Kakashi-sensei. The son of the White Fang had been standing by the Hokage's door for about 10 minutes now, wondering what he would tell his teacher. That the kids had set up an ambush, doused him with water, and let the lightning bolt through. And what about his file? What those kids had said could be completely forgotten, because it was all true, but they were talking nonsense. Uchiha was smug and wanted to become the Lord of Tomatoes, Sakura wanted to outdrink Tsunade, and Naruto wanted to throw a party with Kyuubi and screw someone's brains and prove something. But Kakashi's thoughts were interrupted by a voice from behind the door. Are you going to stand there for long? I'm waiting for a report. The voice was calm. Come what may, the copy ninja decided to enter. So what? Minato asked. He was looking at some documents. Well, you see. Kakashi hesitated. The Hokage looked up at him. They set up an ambush in the classroom, talked all sorts of nonsense and no information about me that isn't even in the file. Kakashi didn't feel very well. You're late again. You've picked up a habit from Obito. I don't know about the information, but what do you mean by nonsense? This was what interested the Hokage the most. Uchiha Sasuke wants to become the Lord of Tomatoes. Naruto dreams of gathering all the Biju and having a party with them and implanting brains into someone and proving something to someone else. A chill ran down the poor Hokage's spine. And Sakura Haruno wants to outdrink Tsunade Senju. He didn't want to say what she loved, or rather who. What do you mean the Lord of Tomatoes and hanging out with Biju? They didn't give Kakashi a heart attack, but they'll give the Hokage one. No, Naruto. When he found out that a demon was sealed inside him, he avoided us for a whole month, and Sasuke. It's written in his file that he hates tomatoes. Outdrink Senju. That's just crazy. They must have decided to make fun of you, Minato reasoned. Minato-sensei, can I go? The Hokage nodded. And stop being late, Namikaze shouted. Now Minato will need to talk to his son about why he wants to meet Kyuubi. Mom, I'm home, Naruto shouted from the doorway. How was the exam? Kushina asked, and was now mentally preparing herself for hysteria and the upcoming scandal. Because when Minato came, his appearance was not at all pleasing. Okay, I passed. Tomorrow there will be training with Kakashi, and then a smile appeared on Kushina's face. The woman breathed a sigh of relief. Naruto entered the kitchen and saw his serious father. I'll probably sit in the room, invite me to dinner, and as soon as he tried to leave, his father brought him back. What did you say, Kakashi? Minato was clearly displeased. Well, what I want, the Hokage began to boil. Don't mumble. What? You know, he already reported everything to you. The younger blonde didn't like this whole situation either. Kushina didn't know what was going on here at all. What did he say? Now the mother became interested too. He said he wanted to meet Kyuubi, Minato blurted out. What? She simply couldn't believe that her son could say that. It's not true. It's a lie, Uzumaki shouted. I want to be with everyone, Naruto said more quietly. Even better. You understand that they are demons, they are monsters. Minato began to prove. Kurama, who was not sleeping, he could not say, but he knew one thing for sure, that they were not monsters and simply no one wanted to talk to them, to make friends. And then he caught Naruto's emotions, he was simply furious. There is one such monster in you. Because of this, the whole village hates you. Namikaze realized that he had said too much. You're wrong, Naruto replied. What? Namikaze didn't understand. I'm telling you that you're wrong. Tailed beasts aren't monsters. Yes, they are demons, but they don't wish evil. And who told you that I have a hard time living with the coup? Nine-tailed beast. Naruto was now able to control himself. And Kurama was pleased that he and his brothers were being protected. I feel good with him. Naruto got ready and flew out of the kitchen, leaving Minato and Kushina looking at each other stupidly. Did he just protect demons? Namikaze decided to clarify, and received a nod in response. Naruto, Kurama felt his emotions, he always wanted to see his parents, but he also wouldn't dare let his friend be bullied. Please. I did everything right. They are just wrong, I don't know you. Uzumaki decided to stand his ground to the end. Thank you. Well, it's nice that you stood up for me. The fox was not eloquent and Naruto knew it very well. Where are you going? To the training ground. I need to let off some steam. The guy was already reaching the abandoned training ground. You know that there is a tail behind you, right? Kurama asked. He felt the presence of a person. Yes. Having reached the training ground, Uzumaki didn't like that he was being followed and he decided to talk about why she was dragging herself after him. You can come out, Naruto shouted. Nobody. I saw you, and even more so I feel your chakra, the blonde shouted again. A girl's figure appeared from behind the tree. What do you want from me? Have you come to mock me? The blonde didn't want to see anyone right now. You were just burning me with your gaze at the academy. Naruto's sister just stood there like a pillar. She didn't know why she came here and for what purpose at all. Why are you making your father angry? He's not guilty of anything. First you say that you won't be a shinobi and generally despise the title of Hokage, and now you want to be a shinobi and generally say that you will become Hokage. Why are you doing this? You've ruined our relationship, please. Why are you even touching your father? He wanted you to become the best shinobi in the village. Naruto understood that this was probably true, but it wasn't him and he didn't know about it. He wanted me to become a weapon like Gaara, Naruto said and turned to his sister, his eyes filled with only resentment. What weapon? Naruto hadn't understood her brother lately. Why do you hate me? Naruto asked. Naruto shuddered. The girl did not have time to answer, but she did not even know what to say. Suddenly, several figures appeared from the trees. Hokage's children, one of the figures drawled in a nasty voice. Who are you? Naruto shouted and approached his sister. They will pay well for them, said another voice. Especially for the girl. The boy is puny, even though he is a Jinchuriki, another voice again. Naruto looked at her opponents, they were at the level of Junin, but you couldn't see their faces, they were masks. She realized that they couldn't handle it and if you also consider that you need to protect Naruto, then the chances are zero. Even if she didn't like her brother, she had a sister's love. You won't lay a finger on her. Minato's daughter realized that she was standing behind Naruto. Is he protecting me? Naruto's heart twitched and something stabbed him. Shadow clones, Naruto shouted and about 10 copies of Uzumaki appeared around them. Grab them, one of them commanded. Attack, Naruto said in the same way. Naruto also tried to fight back, but it wasn't as good as Naruto's. The clones disappeared, 2 were knocked out. But one snuck up on Naruto and put a kunai to her neck. Naruto shouted. Your shadow clones are good, you're not bad in battle either, but you can't do anything else, the masked stranger reasoned. Things are bad, we'll have to use the rasengan. The blonde thought. Even if they figure you out, there's no way out, otherwise the girl will die, Kurama agreed with Naruto's thoughts. Uzumaki summoned another clone. Interesting, the man unknown to him chuckled. A ball of chakra began to appear in the hands of the real Uzumaki. Naruto's eyes widened, this was his father's technique. She couldn't master it, only her godfather and father himself could, but Naruto. Rasengan. Uzumaki shouted and attacked his opponent, who was taken aback. Naruto broke free, and Naruto attacked, but he was scratched on the neck. The cut was quite deep. Damn it, Uzumaki swayed and covered the wound with his hand. Naruto. The sister ran up to her brother. You're bleeding. But you're alive, the blonde said with a smile on his face. You risked your life for me. The girl asked, not believing it. You are my sister. Namikaze literally melted from these words. She always wanted her brother to protect her. She threw his arm over her shoulder and they went home. These unknown people in masks somehow strangely disappeared. Where are they? Kushina was going crazy. It's almost 7, and these blockheads are not here. After all, you were the one who yelled at Naruto, but where is Naruto? Minato knew he was guilty, but his son's words were playing in his head. Suddenly the door swung open and Naruto and the wounded Naruto entered the house. Where are you? Kushina didn't have time to say anything before she saw blood on her son. Naruto, what did you do to your brother? Bloody Habanera began to get angry. She didn't do anything, we were attacked, the wound was healing, but it still burned. What? The head of the family joined the conversation. Naruto, where did you decide to be a hero? The father began to lecture. The son was asking for trouble, and what if Naruto was wounded? She was 100% saving this blockhead. Don't yell at him, he saved me. Naruto stood up for her brother. I'll distract you, of course, but where is the first aid kit in the house? Uzumaki asked. Let's go. Naruto began to treat the wound. They went into the kitchen and Namikaze took out the first aid kit. After treating the wound, she looked into her brother's eyes. What are you doing? Naruto didn't understand such looks. It's just that you never went into battle and in general didn't consider me a sister. The girl hesitated at the last words. Fool, forgive me. I have such a beautiful sister, and I'm a fool. Naruto smiled. The girl giggled and became embarrassed. Now tell us about your attack. The parent stood in the doorway. Well, Naruto began. Naruto and I were at the training ground, talking, and then 3 shinobi came at us. At first I thought they were Junin, but in the fight there were 2 Chunin and 1 Junin. Naruto used clones, he knocked out 1 and I knocked out 1, but then the third one snuck up on me from behind and pinned me down, putting a kunai under my throat. And then Naruto, he used a rasengan. The last word made poor Minato's hair stand on end. Wait, Rasengan, you used Rasengan. The Hokage began to panic. You shouldn't have said that in front of him. How do they take such nervous people into Hokage? Minato calmed down a bit and looked straight into his son's eyes. Yes, Dad, I used your technique. What next? How long did it take you to learn it? Namikaze gradually calmed down. You still won't believe it. Uzumaki remembered that argument with Granny Tsunade. Well, in a week. Uzumaki smiled wryly. What are you saying? I created this technique for 4 years. And you learned it in a week. Naruto just nodded. He said that Minato wouldn't believe it. And if you don't mind, I'm going to bed. I still have to go to training with Kakashi-sensei. The younger blonde stood up and walked out of the kitchen. Sister, thank you, good night. He smiled sweetly and went to his room. Little sister, Kushina asked again, what did you do to your brother? Nothing. Naruto answered, smiling happily. Comment to 3. Competitions bring sensei or report public beta under your control. As promised, a new part in the evening, and now I have to learn a poem. I love. 4. Fight for the bells or burn brightly. Naruto, Sasuke and Sakura were sitting on the training ground. Hatake was late. Nothing, next time he will be more careful with his things. You mean you were attacked? The blonde nodded. And you used the Rasengan? Again a nod. I had no choice. Naruto clenched his fist. Is there a plan? The Hokage's son changed the subject. Yes, Sasuke replied. You distract Kakashi, and I'll extract his chakra and put him in a genjutsu. Not rude, Sakura asked. Genjutsu. He has a Sharingan, Naruto remembered. He won't just dispel it, Sasuke continued. When he comes to, we'll tie him up. He won't have any chakra anyway, so he won't be able to get out. At that moment, Naruto will burn his books. Brilliant, exclaimed the blonde. I support. The kunoichi agreed. Kakashi arrived only at 10, he simply does not understand what awaits him and what punishment he has brought upon himself. And so you will have to take the bell from me, attack as if you want to kill. Hatake explained the rules, and the children ran away. Sakura-chan and I are going to knock you out, Naruto declared as Sasuke made his way behind Hatake. He took out his book and started reading. Speak for yourself. I was the one who knocked him out. At these loud cries, Hatake sighed. Smug genin again. You touch it first, Kakashi advised. Tsukuyomi. Chakra capture. A scream from behind and Kakashi lies on the ground. Let's tie him up. Naruto approached the sensei and dragged him to the log. They tied him up so that Madara wouldn't be able to untie him. Well, if he wanted, he could use fire. Of course, Kakashi would become hot meat, but it's okay, he'll heal before the wedding. He has no chakra now, so the kids were in no hurry. Sakura cut off the bells. Naruto, get his encyclopedia ready, we'll start a fire. He'll wake up soon, Sasuke warned. Kakashi flinched, but couldn't do anything. Kakashi-sensei, you've come to your senses. Naruto commented sarcastically. What's going on? Kakashi tried to use chakra, but there was none. This made him very wary and worried. What's going on? The blonde asked innocently and, very surprised. We beat you up and you passed out, Uzumaki retorted. And now it's time for revenge. Kakashi didn't get the hint. Late today. Yes, and we warned you. If you're late, you'll say goodbye to your books. About 4 volumes appeared in Naruto's hands. Sasuke, take it from his bag, there is more. Uchiha stood up and opened the bag and took the book. So, what do we Uchiha clan practice on? Naruto asked rhetorically. Kakashi-sensei, this is revenge, Sakura added. Well, you're good kids, aren't you? Now Kakashi's weak spot was sounding the alarm. Sasuke, light it, Naruto asked. A flame lit up in the Uchiha's hands. But you didn't pass the tests. Hatake remembered. There with Sakura, Naruto brings the orange book to the fire. And which of you will go to the academy? There are only 2 bells, he decided to catch them in a lie, naive. No one, Uchiha assured. We are a team, Sakura confirmed. In the shinobi world, those who break the rules are called scum, and those who abandon their comrades are even worse, Kakashi shuddered. These were Obito's words, but how did Naruto know them? So it's time to fry. Let's continue. Naruto plunges the book into the fire and it begins to burn. Hataki's heart stops. Don't twitch, you have no chakra, the first book is burning out, the second is on its way. Okay, what do you want? The ninja couldn't stand it any longer and shouted. So that you are not late, the second book is on fire. 3 more. I won't, please don't. Hatake tried to pull away, but all attempts ended in failure. I won't take you on the team. Naruto's hand stopped, as did the sensei's heart. Yes, but then you'll stop being late. And anyway, the third book is on fire, the heart can't stand so much pain. You will be our sensei if you don't want me to burn everything, the fourth is approaching. Okay, I will. Stop, the sensei asked. You won't be late, you'll be sensei. Oh, exclusive edition. The last book. It's for educational purposes, Kakashi-sensei, all for you. Naruto, don't take this sin on your soul. After all, when I'm free, you, and mainly you, won't live, do you understand that, Namikaze? The copy one threatened. Burn brightly, so that it doesn't go out. Kurama encouraged. And you wanted to eat in front of us when we were hungry. What a weakness for weakness. Naruto smiled and plunged the book into the fire. No, Hatake said, hanging his head. It's okay, you'll survive or buy new ones. The main thing is that you'll be our sensei. Uchiha and Haruno felt some ki from Kakashi. You're finished, Kakashi hissed. This is upbringing, sensei, Uzumaki supported. You, the Junin hissed. You were made by Genin, Uchiha summed up. Okay, tomorrow at 9 we'll wait for you in the Hokage's office, we'll bring the report to father ourselves. Don't thank sensei, assured Naruto, and all 3 went to the residence. Kakashi was tied to a log and remained and looked at the ashes of his books. Come in, they allowed them to enter the Hokage's office. Team 7, where's Kakashi-sensei? Minato looked worriedly at his son and his comrades. Mourning his poor, at the training ground, Naruto said and caught an incomprehensible look from the Hokage. We burned his books and tied them to a log, and now we want to report. Minato looked at the genin in mute shock. Kakashi to the log, but how? How did you come to the test and who will go to the academy? He knew how the training was conducted. Hokage-sama, none of us will go to the academy, Sasuke joined the conversation. We are a team, the kunoichi smiled sweetly. The yellow lightning didn't like all this. Report. After knocking out Kakashi-sensei, we tied him up and took away the bells, and then burned the books because he threatened to eat in front of us, at a time when we were very hungry. That's all. We're going, we'll be at your place tomorrow at 9, said the blonde, and all 3 left the Hokage's office. 30 minutes later, Hatake arrived in the office, angry as hell and without chakra. These aren't children, they're some kind of monsters. The Junin declared right from the doorway. Is everything that bad? They burned the books. All of them. Somehow they left me unconscious and without chakra. The genius, or maybe not a genius anymore, was indignant. Without chakra. But how? Namikaze jumped up from this news, he thought they were joking. What kind of technique did they use? I don't know, Minato began to calm his student. Go and rest, see me tomorrow at 9. They were here. The shinobi stared at his sensei, who only nodded. Mom, sister, Naruto yelled. Naruto, have you already completed Kakashi-kun's training? Mom asked. No, it's about to start for him, said a voice behind the blonde. A man's figure towered over the blonde. Kakashi-kun. Kushina-san. Naruto, did I tell you not to take sin on your soul? Sensei asked. I didn't take it. Naruto. Mom, help. They're killing me. The blonde flew into the kitchen, followed by Kakashi. It's good to see you, Kakashi-kun, the red-haired woman greeted with a smile on her face. Likewise, can I take Naruto? Hitaki asked with the most angelic face. Did he do something? Burned all the vulgarity that the perverted hermit writes, the blonde commented. Kushina hit her son. Who is this hermit? Mom asked. Jiraiya. Kushina's eyes became saucers. Why do you call your godfather that? Godfather. Because he's such a pervert. Got hit on the head by mom again. Naruto entered the house and went to the kitchen. What's going on? Kakashi-san, what are you doing here? The girl noticed. Sister. My dear. The blonde now rushed to his sister. I burned all of Kakashi's vulgarity, the blonde whispered. Has your self-preservation instinct switched off? Naruto screamed. Kakashi took advantage of the moment and grabbed the blonde by the collar and dragged him out of the house. Help! Naruto screamed as he was thrown over a shoulder and carried out of the house. Kakashi-sensei. For what? Naruto repeated for the umpteenth time. You burned my literature, which contained an exclusive edition. And you still ask why I tied you up. I didn't burn it. I didn't burn it. Uzumaki couldn't stand it, he was simply tired of hanging upside down. What? Hope sparkled in Hitaki's eyes. When we go on a mission together, I'll give it to you then. Uzumaki pulled a kunai out of his pocket and cut the rope. Until tomorrow, the blonde waved and went home. 5. Mission to the Land of Waves or Knockout Sensei. The next day, Kakashi was the first to wait for the children outside the residence, which surprised the genin, but was glad that the plan worked. Having completed the D-rank mission and several more, they returned the books. Then they carried out D-rank missions for a whole month and Naruto, like Sakura, got tired of it. They threw a scandal. Sasuke was also unhappy, but he held back his emotions. So they were given a C-rank mission. How did they give it? They simply begged for it. Even Kakashi's stern look couldn't stop this farce. A drunk Tazuna entered the office. And these children will protect me, said the elderly man with a bottle in his hands. He is the son of the Hokage, and I am from the great Uchiha clan, the brunette said calmly. And this sweet girl can roll anyone into dust. I'm a Junin, so don't worry Tazuna-san, Hitaki assured, thereby ending Sasuke's monologue. We'll be at the gate in an hour. Yes, said the genin and left the fourth's office. Minato completely stopped understanding his son's behavior. He stopped being that quiet guy, stopped crying and running away. Yes, it was very pleasing, but something told me that everything was not so simple. At the first training, they left Kakashi without chakra and somehow left him unconscious. And when the attack on Naruto and himself occurred, he made a rasengan and generally saved his sister. His relationship with Naruto improved and they began to behave like real brother and sister. What is clearly wrong here? Let them go on a mission now, but soon there will be an exam for Chunin, then we'll see. He will look at the so-called rasengan and everything else, and it would also be good to improve relations with the sand. He wants to lose his books for real. I'll give him that. Sakura cracked her knuckles. Team 7 and Tazuna had been waiting for the unpunctual sensei for 10 minutes. A silhouette appeared on the horizon. Coming, Uchiha chuckled. Tazuna-san, let's go. By the time Kakashi-sensei gets there, we'll already be in the land of waves. The old man himself didn't object and nodded. Kakashi noticed that the children were leaving with the old man. The Junin chuckled. He caught up with them when they had walked a little away from the village. Where are you going without the captain? Kakashi asked. We have a mission, Sasuke snapped. Your books are not expensive, we warned you, the blonde added. They walked in silence, Hitaki only occasionally glancing at them. After walking a little, the copy ninja saw a puddle. As soon as everyone moved away from this puddle, the demon brothers appeared from it and cut Kakashi down. Poor Tazuna couldn't even move from what he saw, as Sasuke launched a fireball at them. Sasuke, that's not fair. The kunoichi yelled at him. Sorry, I couldn't resist, the brunette explained. Tazuna-san, let's continue on our way. But your captain, the old man objected. It's okay, it's an incredible loss for Konoha, but we'll survive somehow. This is the shinobi world, it's cruel. Let's go. Kakashi, who was sitting in ambush, was shocked by such words, so he came out of the bushes, which shocked the old man and he almost died on the spot. The children lectured him for this. They were already approaching the place where they were supposed to meet Zabuza and Haku. They came across a white rabbit and Kakashi screamed. Get down. A sword flew over them. Zabuza, be careful with your knife. You can kill someone with that. Naruto cursed. Kakashi and Tazuna looked at him very strangely. Sasuke sighed and rolled his eyes. Sakura made a facepalm gesture. Even the children know about me already, Momochi said mockingly. Zabuza Momochi, Hitaki croaked. Kakashi's Sharingan, the swordsman snorted. He's a copy ninja, the blonde disputed. It doesn't matter, you'll all die here, Momochi said and cast a fog. Protect Tazuna-san, Kakashi commanded. Don't be hysterical, sensei, the brunette noted the notes of concern. Kakashi moved to Zabuza. I'm going, Naruto said as Kakashi disappeared into the fog. Uchiha and Haruno nodded and Uzumaki disappeared into the fog. Where is he going? The old man asked. Don't tell Kakashi-sensei, otherwise we'll turn you in that you deceived us with the mission, the kunoichi said in a serious voice. Tazuna swallowed and nodded. Naruto was rushing around in the fog and looking for Haku, but he had 10 minutes of running and no patience. Haku, where are you? Naruto yelled. A masked guy appeared in front of him, holding a weapon. How do you know my name and me? The boy asked. It doesn't matter, we need to talk. Take Zabuza. Why should I talk to you? Haku had never seen this guy. And Uzumaki had to tell about Gato. To prove that it was true, he told a little about the life of Haku and Zabuza. The guy in the mask believed him. They agreed to meet in a week. And so they parted. Uzumaki returned to his people and nodded, and then they noticed that Kakashi had ended up in a water prison. Guys, go away. You can't handle him. Go away and save Tazuna-san, Kakashi began his tirade. Do you think he was that hysterical or were we just blind? The kunoichi asked. Most likely our age. Sakura, could you watch Tazuna? We'll save the young lady from trouble for now, Sasuke asked. The girl nodded. Naruto and Sasuke went to the swordsman. Go away. That's an order. Kakashi shouted again. The brunette and the blonde exchanged glances. Cut it off, Uzumaki said and extended his hand. Tsukuyomi, the brunette said almost in a whisper. Hitaki's eyes swam and he passed out. Zabuza, we talked to Haku, he will tell you everything, the blonde assured the swordsman. How do you know? And what did you do to him? He saw the dark-haired guy stretch out his hand and Kakashi just passed out. It doesn't matter, Haku will explain everything. And yes, tell Haku that the meeting is postponed and we'll go the day after tomorrow, the blonde warned. Now give us our sensei, because the Hokage will tear our heads off, and we like him, Uchiha asked. Momochi didn't trust these guys. It's complicated. Haku, please come out if you're nearby and can hear us, a masked boy appeared out of nowhere. Zabuza-san, they can be trusted, the boy assured. Momochi looked at Haku, then at the two genin, and back at Haku. Nod. Take him, the swordsman commanded and the water prison disappeared, and Hitaki went under the water. The blonde jumped up and pulled out the wet ninja. So the day after tomorrow? Haku asked. The brunette nodded in response. The swordsman and his weapon disappeared, and the fog began to dissipate. Two guys with Kakashi on the blonde's back came out to Tazuna and Sakura. Let's go, said the brunette. Do you want me to carry it? Naruto asked. He carried you. Uzumaki sighed. The team headed to the customer's house. How surprised and happy Naruto was that Inari's father was alive. Hitaki still hadn't come to his senses. Nothing, it would be better for them to visit Gato. As they had agreed with Zabuza and Haku, they went to visit Gato. It was a fun night. The genins agreed that the swordsman with his weapon would not attack the village of the leaf and sand. By the way, these two got Gato's accounts, so they were not against it. Kakashi had been unconscious for several days. The guys were worried, but Sasuke said that this was possible, since he had spent a lot of energy on the Sharingan. Naruto and his clones helped to finish building the bridge. The bridge was named Leaf and here Team 7 returns from the mission. Again, Hitaki had to carry the Jinchuriki. How much sleep can you afford? It's already the 4th day, and he hasn't even come to his senses yet. Uzumaki grumbled. Shut up and carry it. They were halfway to the village, but Kakashi decided to come to his senses, finally. They stopped and surrounded the sensei. He winced, but did not open his eyes yet. Kakashi-sensei, you've been sleeping for 4 days. Maybe you'll open your eyes. My back already hurts from carrying you. Hatake winced a little more and opened his heavy eyelids. Guys, where are we? The shinobi wheezed. We're going back to the village. We've completed the mission. We've finished building the bridge. The only girl on the team decided to speak. There was a fight with Zabuza Momochi, their sensei began to recall. Yes, Naruto and Sasuke dealt with him, and you. Well, you were unconscious at the time, the girl continued. The White Fang's son's eyes turned into saucers. Did you deal with the swordsman? His voice wavered. Yes. Can you walk? Sasuke asked. Kakashi tried to get up, but everything was fine. You slept for 4 days. He realized that he had to carry Kakashi again. The copy ninja himself was ashamed. What would he say to the Hokage? He slept for 4 days and 2 genin dealt with one of the 7 swordsmen of the mist, and he simply lost consciousness. But his thoughts were interrupted. He found himself on Naruto's back. What are you doing? Uzumaki snorted. When I carried you to the land of waves and back, you didn't care. Moreover, we don't abandon our own, the blonde said. They walked in silence. Hatake considered himself superfluous in the team, he hadn't done anything at all this time. But Sakura's voice pulled him out of his thoughts. Kakashi-sensei, don't be upset, Sakura decided to support him. Are you going to send us to the Chunin exam? How do you know? Naruto's father is the Hokage, Sasuke stated. Fine. They reached the village and Sakura and Kakashi went to the hospital, and Naruto and Sasuke went to the residence. Minato was sitting in his office. He had sent Team 7 on a mission to another country and they would only be back in a week, but Naruto and Sasuke came to see him, which surprised them greatly. Did you fail the mission? They couldn't have finished it so quickly. Hello to you too. No, we completed the mission and brought the report, Naruto said and caught his father's eye. Kakashi-sensei, he was unconscious for 4 days during the mission. We were attacked by Zabuza Momochi. He protected us, and then passed out from exhaustion. We continued the mission, helped finish building the bridge. Where is Kakashi now? He's coming up the stairs on crutches to us. Namikaze didn't understand this answer, but then Kakashi came into them and yes, he was on crutches. Hello, Hokage-sama, the Junin greeted. Are you hurt? No, he's not injured. He used the Sharingan for a long time. And then he switched off. We told you, Sasuke answered for him. The copyist hesitated. Dad, we came to go to the Chunin exam, the younger blonde immediately got down to business. Kakashi, the Hokage turned his gaze to the Junin. I think they are ready. Then your sensei will give you a form to fill out. The exam is in 3 days. Sasuke and Naruto bowed and left. Great, now they have to pass the exam, and they decided to impress everyone. 6. Chunin exam or he's suicidal. Naruto and Naruto were walking around Konoha. As they were walking, they were going to the training ground. And the blonde noticed familiar figures. Let's go. Naruto took his sister by the hand and dragged her towards these acquaintances. You brat, watch where you're going, Kankuro said, holding Konohamaru by the collar. Hey, Kankuro, maybe you could find yourself a rival in strength. The blonde suggested. Naruto, these are the Kasage's children, his sister warned. And who are you? Kankuro interrupted his showdown, and only Uzumaki wanted to answer. Kankuro, let the boy go, you are a disgrace to our country, said a very familiar voice. What people? The fox chuckled into his subconscious. Gaara, the Sandman's voice trembled. A boy with red hair and a hieroglyph on his forehead came down from the tree. The boy looked at the blonde. Sorry, he looked him in the eyes, but then turned his gaze to the girl. Apparently he didn't find what he was looking for. Gaara, he attacked the youngest Sandman with screams, the hair of those around him stood on end. The brother and sister knew the character of the younger one, even Naruto's sister knew this Gaara and what a psychopath he was. Buddy, the blonde hugged the red-haired Jinchuriki. Suicide, Kankuro said, to which Tamari nodded. They were already thinking about saving this boy, so that his brother wouldn't kill him. The last thing they needed was a war with the leaf. How I missed you. Naruto continued to hug him. Naruto, forgive me, but I need to take Gaara to Ichiraku. Show Tamari and Kankuro our places. The poor sister looked on in shock and was ready to rush to her brother to save him. But in an instant, the two Jinchuriki were gone. In fact, Naruto dragged Gaara to Sasuke. How did you end up here? Uzumaki asked as he ran. I don't know, I woke up in this body together with Shukaku. Naruto stopped, and the sandstone crashed into him. Wait, with our Shukaku? To which Gaara nodded. Kurama. The blonde gritted his teeth. What Kurama? Kurama is good. Kurama wanted to make a surprise. The fox began to justify himself. They went into the Uchiha quarter, and Sasuke was already not far away. They were met by Itachi. The Hokage's son was not at all used to seeing such an Itachi. Having grabbed Sasuke, they rushed to the abandoned training ground. There the brunette learned all the information. They discussed tomorrow and parted. It was already about 8 in the evening. I'm home, the younger blonde shouted. Kushina was furious. Naruto did not hide from the frying pan. Apparently Naruto told what happened. Were you with the Kage's son today? Minato asked. Everyone was sitting at the table. The younger blonde was waiting for interrogation. Fa, the boy said, chewing. And he didn't kill you? The Hokage asked. I didn't get it. And you hugged him like friends? But you saw him once. The mother and daughter were also sitting at the table, but were silent. And what? He's a moff druff, Naruto stated before the fact. Where were you with your friend? He asked point blank. Guffuel. He swallowed and now spoke normally. Is the interrogation over? Naruto and I have an exam tomorrow. Good night, everyone. Naruto stood up and went to his room. This morning Uzumaki said a few words, which really irritated Kushina and Naruto. Minato was already in the residence. He didn't smile, he only said, good morning, thank you, and, bye. Naruto met with his team and they headed to the exam. Sasuke and Sakura were also worried about the blonde. He wasn't fooling around, he wasn't smiling, he was just silent. Only Kurama knew about this change of mood, his Jinchuriki, something was bothering him. There was that joke with the second floor again. Kakashi met them before entering the auditorium and also noticed Uzumaki's mood. They entered the auditorium and immediately moved towards Gaara and his team, but before they could ask anything, Ibiki arrived. Everyone was seated and the exam began. Morino was pressing his key on those present. Only 3 people did not care, they did nothing at all. The examiners also noticed this. About 15 minutes passed. I have an idea, the fox said with a sly tone in his voice. Uzumaki became interested. Let me scare the examiners and Morino with my key. Naruto knew what key Kurama had and a sly smile spread across his face and he agreed. Kurama distributed his key bloodlust. The examiners shook themselves off and Morino began to shake his head. Almost everyone present had a lump in their throat. Shukaku noticed this key and offered his Jinchuriki to join the game. Gaara thought about it but still agreed. Now the 2 Jinchuriki distributed their murderous thirst. The examiners also started to get nervous. This key could be felt beyond the auditorium, even the Konoha-sensei could sense this key. Is this Morino? Kurenai asked. I'm not sure, Asuma said. But Kakashi already had an idea of what was going on there. This key was still walking around the auditorium. The 10th question was announced. Ibiki didn't even have to use his key, because the auditorium was already nice. But the examiners and Morino himself couldn't stop being surprised that the Kakashi trio was sitting calmly, and that Uchiha was sleeping. How the children had to be trained to withstand this key. Naruko sat next to her brother and shook for the entire 45 minutes, but when they announced the 10th question, she was ready to burst into tears and run out of this horrible place. She saw how calmly her brother was sitting. Naruto noticed that his sister was about to break down at this 10th question. He took her hand and said that only she could hear. Don't be afraid, everything is fine. I'm next to you. The girl calmed down a little. Almost half of them left the room, but everyone who was at the exam in Naruto's world stayed, because there were more participants in this world. Ibiki said that everyone who remained passed. And now he wanted to ask who this key carrier was, but he didn't have time. Anko flew into the auditorium through the window. Ibiki, you're losing your grip. There won't be anything halfway, and then Naruto decided to play and sent key at Anko. She couldn't even speak or move. And Morino felt the key that was being sent to her. Tomorrow at 9 at the 44th training ground, or the Forest of Death, Naruto said, taking his sister by the hand, going up to Uchiha and waking him up, and taking Sakura, they left the classroom. The Sandman followed them. The others sat and didn't move. Anko still had a little key left, but now she could speak and move at all. Tomorrow at 9 at the 44th training ground, she repeated. When all the genin left, and Ibiki and Anko remained in the room. Morino didn't pay attention, but took the sheet of the Hokage's son, Sasuke and Sakura. Haruno had written everything correctly, Uchiha also wrote the test, and behind how copied. And Minato's son had a blank sheet, and on the back side it was written, sorry, but it was fun. It seems like you were scared by the loser of the academy, Morino said with a smirk on his face. He knew that Naruto was the worst student in the academy. At the exit, Kakashi was waiting for them and wanted to ask what was going on there. Well, Sasuke was sleeping, Sakura, I don't know, was doing something with her nails, and I was just sitting. Naruto decided to take the floor. I don't get it. You were just sitting there. And Sasuke was sleeping. Uzumaki nodded. And wasn't it you who had that terrible key? Kakashi-san, did you feel it too? Naruto couldn't believe that the Junin felt it too. Well, yes, Hitaki hesitated. We overdid it, the fox summed up. Minato was late for dinner. Kushina was very happy that her children passed the first stage of the exam. But when Minato showed up and stared at Naruto, it was annoying. Your dad has been informed, the fox commented on this look. Maybe stop looking at me like that, Naruto asked, but he didn't look his father in the eyes. Where did you get such a thirst for blood? Kushina and Naruto also stared at the boy. I don't have it. Yes, and your key and what you did on the exam. Naruto's poor sister choked. She felt this terrible key, but for her brother to do this. Never. It was boring. Sasuke was sleeping, Sakura was doing something too, and I got bored, Naruto justified himself. Bored? Haven't you tried writing? Minato was already shouting. If you can make shadow clones, rasengan and master taijutsu, you're cooler than everyone, it's time to intimidate everyone. What does my ability have to do with it? The younger blonde also began to boil. You could train in your place and at least learn your element. Maybe you should tell him that you can control the elements and his thunder god's flight. It's just that if you tell him all your power, he'll go crazy, Kurama suggested. Thank you for the food. Good night everyone, the blonde said and left the kitchen. Naruto, I'm sorry I scared you during the exam. Dad, why are you doing this to him? He may not have a lot of abilities, but it's true, Naruto herself can use the water element, and her brother can only use the rasengan and shadow clones. The topic is closed, Kushina shouted, she was already tired of these scandals. 7. Stage 2. Forest of Death or New Godfather. This morning was spent in silence, father was not there, and no one wanted to talk. Naruto tried to support her brother, but nothing. They left the house and walked to the training ground in silence. Naruto went to his team, or rather to Sakura, Sasuke was not there yet. What happened? She saw that Naruto had no face. Yesterday we were talking about my ki and abilities, Naruto said, as they saw the gloomy Uchiha, looking terrified. And what about you? They said you wouldn't get the Sharingan. How would you look if you found Orochimaru in your house and found out that he was your godfather? The brunette began to raise his tone. You're even worse off. But he won't attack here, the kunoichi decided to support her comrades. The boys just sighed. Then Anko came and started telling the rules. Team 7 didn't listen to anything at all. Taking their sky scroll, they went to look for Gaara and his team. Hearing a scream, they found them. Damn it, Earth Scroll, Kankuro cursed. Gaara, Naruto called out. Naruto, the Sandman said in a joyful voice. They hugged. Do you have an Earth Scroll? The Nine-Tails Jinchuriki asked. Gaara nodded. We have the sky, let's exchange. The blonde suggested. But we have 2 lands, Tamari didn't understand them. We have 2 heavens, Sakura explained. They exchanged scrolls, although Gaara's brother and sister did not understand why Konoha, or rather the Hokage's son and his friends, were helping them, but at least they had the scroll they needed. Hokage-sama, one of the examiners burst into the Hokage's office. What happened? The situation was clearly important. Team Kakashi and the Sand team are already in the tower, the examiner reported. What? But since the beginning it's only been. The Hokage looked at the time. 45 minutes. The examiner just shrugged. We'll have to hang around here for 4 days. Uzumaki grumbled. Shut up. Sakura barked at him. Maybe we could have some taijutsu sparring. Uchiha suggested. Good idea, Gaara agreed. They had several sparring matches, changed and did this several times. The examiners were watching these sparring matches. They were pleasantly surprised, the children fought each other with dignity. The genin themselves knew that they were being watched, Naruto's cameras had spotted them. So they fought at the genin level. 4 boring and tedious days passed like this. To Naruto's surprise, 6 teams passed. His sister's team, themselves, Guy's team, Asuma's team, Kurenai, Gaara's team and the sound team. Minato glared at his son. The fights began. One of the sound guys left, guess who? Kabuto, although we didn't know why. After all, Orochimaru, as it turned out, was Sasuke's godfather. 2 more left the exam, Choji and Shino. This was also strange, although Akamichi suffered greatly in the Forest of Death, but Shino. Who knows? The first was Sakura versus Ino. Both lost. No, Sakura would have won anyway, but many would wonder how she did it and so on. Sasuke versus Sound Shinobi. The winner was Uchiha. Temari fought Tenten. Kankuro versus Naruto's sister's teammate. He won. Gaara versus Rock Lee. This time he didn't break his bones, but the winner was the Sandman. Shikamaru simply captured Naruto's comrade, and then put a kunai under his arm and ordered him to surrender, which he did. Neji humiliated Hinata again, but like last time Uzumaki yelled and supported Hinata and shut Neji's mouth. He almost ran out to fight himself, but Hitaki held him back. Hinata's brother won anyway. Naruto fought Sound Shinobi. He couldn't hold out for a couple of minutes. Namikaze knocked him out with the first blow. By the way, Naruto taught her this blow. The last fight was Naruto and Kiba. The Rasengan played an important role. The clones held in Izuka, so when Naruto did the Hokage technique the whole hall sat down with noise. Kakashi was not privy to the fact that his student has the sensei's technique. He does not yet know that Sasuke has his technique. They announced that Naruto had won because if he used that ball on Kiba, the dog owner would have to take a long time to heal. What was most surprising was that in a week the main battles would take place. Not in a month, but in a week. When the Kage, that is, the father of the Sand team, arrives, then you will have battles. The family dinner was held in a calm atmosphere, which Naruto was terribly glad about. He had had enough interrogations already. Kushina congratulated the children, but Minato. He was proud of Naruto. She always lived up to her father's expectations. She knows how to control the elements and she has excellent taijutsu. But Naruto, yes, he mastered the forbidden technique, but how? He managed to make a Rasengan and that's it. Maybe he is asking too much of him. Before, he didn't want to be a shinobi at all, but now he can even make a Rasengan. Yes, he is asking too much of him. Minato decided for himself. A week passed, the Kage came to the village, but when the day X came, something strange happened. Commentary to 7. The second stage. The Forest of Death or the New Godfather. Today we wrote a trial on society and now I'm scared of what I wrote. This is exactly the reason why parts come out so rarely. We have a trial every week, and they also added KDR to us. Fun. They also made the trial on society more difficult. In short, it's a nightmare. But, why did I decide to post part of it today? 1. I made it to the anime fair. We had a fair today and I agreed with my friends to go there and get a kigurumi. One girl took it, well, and so on. The others didn't support our idea, saying it was cold, but I told them to change in the building. No, one girl said where would you change and so on. I said, you'll just put on a kigurumi and that's it. Why do you need to change? In general, they didn't take it, but as I said, one person did. So this person and I walked around the fair in our pajamas. It was fun, but strangers came up to me and hugged me. It was cute. Even some of the boys appreciated it. After all, I'm an anime fan too. I made an order. With Kakashi-kun and Tony Stark. These are posters. I don't have enough of today's ones, as they say, there's no such thing as too many posters in Kakashi-kun, and while I was making the order I thought, why not make a badge with a FIC book? Yes, I made a badge with a FIC book. When it arrives I'll send you a photo of it. 3. I pasted posters with Kakashi-kun on them and bought sketches, and we were also given 3 essays. I love you. Smack. P.S. Chapter unknown when. 8. Chunin exam. Fights or I can't feel it. This day has come. They wanted to be at the training ground all week. Kurama, are you ready? The blonde asked his friend. Naruto. Something strange is happening. The fox's voice didn't sound very happy. What do you mean? When something like this happens, expect trouble. I don't feel Minato's chakra. Even though the fox didn't like the Hokage, his Jinchuriki wasn't indifferent to him. Of course, he's in the residence with Gaara's father now, the blonde chuckled. He already thought something serious had happened. You don't understand. I don't feel Minato at all. At all. His chakra is not in the village. The fox said. What? How? Is this true? The subconscious gave a positive answer. Naruto ran out of the room and rushed towards Kushina. Mom, where is Dad? Naruto asked with a serious look. What's wrong? He's in the residence, or maybe he's already waiting for you to start the fight. It's time for us to go, eat and let's go, Kushina reassured her son. He's not in the village. I can actually sense Minato's chakra, but it's not his. Remember how it was with Zetsu, that's how it is with him, Kurama warned. Naruto didn't like this whole situation, then his sister came to the kitchen. They ate and went to the exam. Kushina went with him, she had to support the children. They came and now Kurama was 100% sure that it wasn't Minato about the cage, they had the same assumptions. Naruto decided to talk to Gaara about this. Gaara, we need to talk, the blonde said in a serious tone and extended his fist. Gaara nodded and hit the fist. Both Jinchuriki found themselves in a common subconscious. Kurama said that these are not the cage and Hokage, these are not our fathers. Naruto immediately got down to business. Shukaku, you feel it too, right? The fox asked. The one-tailed fox nodded at his question. Then where are the real ones? Gaara asked. I'm not exactly sure, but I detected a suspected chakra about 10 minutes ago. About 100 kilometers southeast of us, Kurama said. And you were silent. Let's go, Naruto declared. I agree, but the exam, we'll be caught, Gaara warned. Clones. In the real world it was a second. After discussing everything they left the clones and went after the real village heads. Naruto approached his team. Naruto, where have you been? Kakashi asked. You missed Shikamaru and Temari's fight. The main thing is that I saw my sister's fight, the blonde said proudly, because Naruto defeated Neji and put in her brains, ate the Naruto therapy. Now there will be a fight between Sasuke and Kankuro. Kakashi-sensei, you better sit down, Sakura warned him, but he ignored her advice. Itachi supported his brother with all his heart. The Uchiha clan was almost all. Kankuro prepared his puppets. But then Sasuke introduced the world to the Mangekyo Sharingan. The entire Uchiha clan began to whisper. And Itachi and the head of the clan Fugaku greeted the floor with his jaw. After all, Itachi did not have such eyes. Sasuke decided to keep all his trump cards up his sleeve and change the Rinnegan to the other eye. There were about 10 puppets, so it was time for the Raikiri. A purple lightning bolt appeared in the hand of the loser among his clan. Kakashi's eye widened so much that it was about to fall out. I told you, the Kunoichi recalled her advice. Where is it from? Hitaki started blinking his eyes and was simply speechless. It's not even Chidori, it's Raikiri. Raikiri. At this time, 2 Jinchuriki were approaching some kind of ruined building that was part of the cave. There. The chakra is very, very weak. Kurama said. I sense more people there. S-class missing nin. Then let's get started. Uzumaki created a clone and sat him down to meditate. Naruto used the tailed beast mode. Mega Rasengan. Uzumaki yelled and a hole appeared in place of the wall. The noise brought the Nukenin running. Is that all? Gaara asked. There were about 10 of them. No, 2 more. They are near your father's. No, there are 2 more. 5 each, Naruto warned, and both Jinchuriki got into a fight. The Nukenin had underestimated the children. That's why 10 minutes and the way is clear. They're just tenacious, as Kurama put it. Where the Hokage and cage were, entry was prohibited and as Ku said, there were 2 more. But they were clearly not S-class. You can't get through it with a Rasengan, the blonde summed up and summoned a clone that was gathering natural chakra. He started spinning the Rasen Shuriken. Gaara, step aside, Naruto asked, the cage's son did not argue. Rasen Shuriken. The wall with the seal has been broken through. Is anyone there? Naruto called out. He heard a cough from the dust behind him. Hokage of the Leaf Village and cage of the Sand Village? Gaara asked, stepping closer to his friend. Yes, came the answer. Minato and Rasa saw 2 figures, one was engulfed in flames. Now explain how they could kidnap 2 village heads. The guy barked and started to approach. The dust cleared. Naruto. Minato's voice trembled. Gaara approached Uzumaki. Gaara. Rasa's voice also trembled. They didn't notice your substitution, Gaara explained. Most likely, like with Zetsu, the younger blonde suggested. The seal suppressed them and their chakra was sucked out. At this time, the Hokage and cage were gasping for air with their mouths open. Their children had found them. Their children. They had noticed the substitution, found them, and neutralized the missing nin. How did you get past the Nukenin and break the seal, and why are you on fire? The Hokage bombarded him with questions. United, Rasen Shuriken and this is tail mode, Naruto explained. But, Minato wanted to object. Now is not the time, your place is being taken by imposters, and we are talking here, Gaara interrupted. We'll lose a lot of time when we get there, Rasa said. So, the flight of the Thunder God, Naruto stated with a wide grin. I don't have chakra, Minato countered. You are not the only one who can use this technique. Prepare yourself, Minato's eyes turned into saucers. Let the clone put the seal. Uzumaki concentrated, where the heads of the villages and their sons stood, an orange flash flashed. Gaara and Naruto's clones dispersed and the stands began to buzz. Suddenly, the village heads in Naruto in tail mode with Gaara appeared instead. Before they could take a step, they were surrounded by Anbu. Sasuke, Kakashi-sensei, grab the cage and Hokage. They're fakes. The nine-tailed Jinchuriki yelled. Sakura, block the exits. Naruto yelled again. Uzumaki in tailed beast mode rushed towards these heads. Gaara followed him. Naruto grabbed one of the imposters, since the Anbu managed to take the second. Then Uzumaki handed over the Hokage to the Anbu squad. The whole shocked family, the shocked sensei, and a good half of Konohagakure came up to him. When the father approached the younger blonde, who barely made it to his own son, the latter's vision began to blur. His head began to spin, and his legs could no longer support themselves. The last thing Naruto Uzumaki heard was the doctor's cries for help and, hold on, son. 9. Bell number 1. Comment to 9. Bell number 1. This part contains spoilers for the further plot. Naruto wakes up in some space, water under his feet. The boy would have thought that this was his subconscious, but Kurama was nowhere to be found. Greetings, reincarnation of Ashura. Super Grandpa. The blonde was surprised. Rakudo appeared before him again, he was floating in the air like last time. Yes, I came here to warn you. Naruto raised an eyebrow skeptically. Warn? About what? Uzumaki was surprised, and then did not let the sage speak and began to be indignant. You threw us God knows where. By the way, I became Hokage, and woke up here. What kind of joke is this? That's exactly it. This isn't my doing, you were transported by someone else and you need to find him. Your world is falling apart every day and will soon disappear. Uzumaki's eyes widened. Why? It cannot exist without the reincarnations of Indra and Ashura. You need to return quickly. And also, this may lead to the liberation of my mother. So, and how do we do this? The blonde began to fuss. You need to go to the intersection of worlds. Open a portal there and return back, the sage explained. And how much time do we have? Naruto asked. 3 years, Uzumaki sighed heavily. Okay, we'll fix everything, but what will happen to us in this world? Naruto asked. They will return back to their bodies. What if we don't return to our world? The Jinchuriki asked after a few minutes of silence. You will merge with the bodies here, and your world will disappear. My mother will become a threat to the world again, damn. But Naruto has a sister and parents here, and Sasuke is fine with his relatives, but they cannot let their world perish, they cannot let their close friends perish. They will have to go back to their own. Although, as they say, visiting is good, but home is better. We will do so, Naruto nodded. The sage began to dissolve. My time is coming to an end. Naruto, soon you will merge with the former owner of the body. At the end of time, you can become completely. Kurama will tell you about it. I wish you good luck, Uzumaki Naruto. This time the guy found himself in his subconscious and his loyal friend was already in front of him. Chatted with your dad? The fox grinned. Naruto nodded, but his head hurt a lot. I'll heal you. What happened? The Jinchuriki asked, meaning the fox realized he was suffering from a headache. Your body. You used my power for too long, this body couldn't handle so much chakra. As father said, we merge, you should start training to improve the duration of some techniques. I see, Uzumaki said, the pain almost receding. I'll definitely come home, although it will be difficult, saying goodbye to. Naruto pressed his lips together. I understand, but you have to go back, the fox added after a short silence. And now it's time for you to go. You've been unconscious for 5 days now, they decided that you fell into a coma and it's all my fault. By the way, they called Tsunade, she should arrive tomorrow. And your iron and his girlfriend are suffering, poor thing, parents. Well, it's more difficult with them. So get going. At that moment, Naruto was thrown out of his own subconscious. One of the hospital wards in Konoha. A pale boy with light hair and lines on his cheeks lies on a hospital bed. There are several machines connected to him next to him. His father sleeps next to him, They look so much alike. He has been spending several days in his son's ward. You can tell by his swollen eyes that he has been crying. True, the fourth Hokage blames himself for his son lying here. And the doctors do not make any positive diagnosis. Tomorrow the best medic in the entire shinobi world should arrive. She is the only hope. If she cannot do anything, and his son, he will never forgive himself. Over the course of a few days, one muscle twitched on Naruto's face, then another. The boy began to frown, then make a moan and move. Naruto jerked his hand and caught the Hokage. The latter reacted faster and opened his blue eyes, a silent shock on his face when he saw his son starting to wake up. Naruto, he asked, not believing his own luck. Maybe this is a dream and he is still sleeping. Uzumaki opened the same blue eyes and looked at his father. Kurama, you fox face. Couldn't you warn me? Naruto. Minato threw himself into a hug with his son, when he sat on the bed with bated breath. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I'm a terrible father. The Hokage's son felt his neck become wet. He's been sitting and crying over you for several days now, the fox retorted. Everything is fine, the son hugged his father in response. I'm a terrible father. He pulled away from his son and looked him in the eyes. Naruto couldn't help but agree. He understood how much Naruto himself had to endure from such a Minato. Will you forgive me? Uzumaki waited a few minutes and nodded. Then Minato's face transformed into a serious look. Tell me, how is it that I didn't know about any of your techniques? Naruto smiled crookedly and shrugged. Have you learned it? More of a question than an answer. Thank you for saving me, Minato said and smiled his most sincere smile. 10. The Legendary Loser and the Perverted Writer. Commentary on 10. The Legendary Loser and the Perverted Writer. I decided to post more parts today, since it might not work out for weeks. The two Sannin were heading to Konohagakure. Do you think the Nine Tails did much harm? Tsunade asks. I don't know, in our world Naruto didn't have this, he didn't fall into a coma. But you understand, what Minato described was not the Nine Tails taking possession of Naruto, but he himself taking possession of his power, Senju reasoned. And you think, Naruto somehow subjugated the will of the demon fox? Tsunade shrugged. In any case, I won't let my godson die, the hermit nodded in confirmation of the woman. If Minato is involved in this, I'll. Jiraiya always knew his friend's character, but when they got to this world and saw Naruto's character, they were horrified. The boy who always shouted at the whole district about his dream and was like the sun, was never here. The Naruto here was always a quiet and calm boy. He was not capable of a shinobi career, but still strove for it. Although the chances of passing the exam were almost zero. And now they receive an urgent letter from the Hokage, in which he begs Tsunade to urgently appear in Konoha and save the life of her own son. There was no reason in the letter. But Senju promised that if the reason was Minato, she would bury him for her godson. After all, in most cases the reason was Minato. Upon arriving in Konoha, the first thing the Sannin did was go to the hospital and the first thing they heard was the screams of the Namikaze Uzumaki family, namely Kushina and Naruko. You are a fool and an idiot. You dare to scare me like that again. I will turn gray because of you. Naruko screamed. And you're no better. And don't cover for him. He risked his life for you. That was Kushina's scream. Both Sannins went to the necessary chamber and opened the door to see the following picture. Kushina's hair stood up and divided into 9 strands, and Naruko's hair stood up a little and also divided a little. In the corner of the chamber stood 2 blondes, the older one covering the younger one. What the hell is going on here? The blonde screamed and the Namikaze Uzumaki couple looked at her, but Naruto froze behind his father and was afraid to look at the owner of the voice. Suna. Gee. Naruko screamed and flew at her godparents. Naruto, what's going on here? Ji asked. It's all Naruto. He was unconscious for 5 days. And he woke up. Dadded. He scared me. The girl said, waving her arms. Minato walked away from his son, but didn't go near his wife and daughter. Kami forbid anything. Naruto himself looked at his feet, as if they were the most interesting thing in the room. Jiraiya and Tsunade exchanged glances and looked at the younger blonde, who, as always, stood to the side, but he didn't look at them, not at all. Naruto-kun, would you like to say hello to the godparents? The hermit asked in a cheerful and loud voice. Why are you standing there like a stump? Asked the fox. I can't look at them. I know that you lost them and couldn't save them, but now they are here. Now. Naruto-kun, Jiraiya called again, and Senju frowned and now glared at the Hokage. The female half of Namikaze Uzumaki did not understand why Naruto could not raise his head and greet his godparents. Minato, the blonde said angrily. What did you do to my godson? Excuse me, but I need to go out. Naruto, come show me. The toilet. Naruto huddled up and flew past the Sanins, grabbing his sister's hand and leaving the room. After leaving the room, the brother exhaled. Naruto, what was that? Asked his sister. I don't know, Uzumaki shrugged, and Tsunade's voice was heard from the room. Literally a couple of minutes later the hermit came out and walked towards the Namikaze Uzumaki couple. Naruto again buried his face in the floor. Naru-chan, could you leave us Naruto-kun? Asked the perverted hermit. The girl thought for a moment and, hearing her godmother's cry again, nodded. I'll go help there. She smiled crookedly. Naru disappeared behind the door of the ward. Jiraiya squatted down and burned Naruto. Naruto, what's going on? Aren't you happy to see us? Toad Sage asked in a sad voice. No, perverted hermit, I'm really glad to see you. Naruto rattled off and stopped. Jiraiya's eyes became like saucers. What did you call me? Idiot, Kurama drawled. 11. The main thing is further away. No way. Uzumaki smiled crookedly. Jiraiya's gaze became more serious. He stood up and approached the boy. Who are you? His voice was like metal. I, Namikaze Naruto. Jiraiya grabbed the boy by the chest and pressed him against the wall. I ask again, who are you? Damn, Kurama, what to do? Do as you always do. How? Tell him the truth. Okay, I'm not Namikaze Naruto. I'm Uzumaki Naruto. Jiraiya raised an eyebrow. Do you want to make a fool out of me? No, I really am Uzumaki Naruto, only. Well, this will sound like nonsense, but I am from another world, the Jinchuriki smiled wryly. And probably the Sannin would have thought the same, that it was complete nonsense, if he himself had not been one. You idiot, I was just joking. What? You fox skin. The situation is getting out of control. And you're joking here. The vessel went berserk. Then why did you act like that when we came in? Jiraiya asked. He let go of Naruto and was now waiting for his answer. Maybe it's. Well, in my world, you died. You fought with one bad guy, but then that guy became good again. The Sannin caught his breath. And this bad guy's name wasn't Pain by any chance? The hermit grinned, blue eyes looking at him with distrust and hope. Ero Sannin. Jiraiya snorted and nodded. The next minute Naruto jumped on him and pressed himself against his godfather. In the next seconds, the writer's neck got wet, and he shed a tear. Suna told me how you defeated Pain and also mentioned the war. Ba-chan, she. Yes, the hermit interrupted. The door to the chamber opened and Tsunade came out with her head held high, followed by Minato with an unhappy look. The female half remained in the tail. Jiraiya, what exactly is going on here? Senju asked, looking at both of them with a stern gaze. Suna. Ba-chan, everything is fine. The perverted hermit and I had a talk and now everything is fine. If the entire Namikaze Uzumaki couple was out of sorts, then tears appeared in the eyes of the slime princess. Naruto, the blonde came up and hugged his godmother. Is it really you? She whispered to him. It's really me, Naruto said in a whisper. He paused and added, Sakura-chan will be happy to see you. Naruto and Tsunade walked to Sakura's house. They were chatting enthusiastically about something, and when they approached her house they stopped. Well, Ba-chan, are you ready? She nodded. One hit, 1,000 gold. The blonde said, raising her fist up. Naruto knocked on his friend's door and a sleepy Sakura came out on the threshold. In soft pink pajamas, with disheveled hair, and a diamond on her forehead. Senju grinned when she saw her student like that, but thanks to Byakugo, the princess realized that this was her Sakura. Sakura-chan. Haruno stared straight at the Sannin. Tsunade-sama, Sakura said, not paying attention to Naruto. Sakura, a pause. I understand everything, but for your age it is not customary to own a Byakugo, so hide it under the henge. What? The kunoichi asked, lost. Sakura-chan, wake up. The girl looked at Naruto, and the latter was beaming with a wide smile. It's Ba-chan. At that moment, Naruto was punched and sent flying. Sakura, Senju didn't have time to say a word before the kunoichi pressed herself against her. Tsunade. Herself. It was you. Really. You. Haruno said sobbing. Senju stroked her hair. I missed you too, Sakura. Naruto somehow found this snake and was now leading it to Sasuke. Why do I need Uchiha? Orochimaru asked. Why? What do you mean? Uzumaki threw up his hands. Bah, Tsunade has Sakura-chan, Jiraiya has me, and you will have Sasuke. I guarantee you that he is a very capable student. The snake snorted. The second generation of Sannin, Orochimaru chuckled. Yes, they just approached the Uchiha's house, they were allowed into the quarter without any problems. Sasuke, open up, open the Sharingan. The door opened and Itachi appeared in the passage. Itachi, can Sasuke come in? The older brother smiled and nodded, and a couple of minutes later Sasuke came out. Tyome, this is Orochimaru, well, you know him, I'm handing you over to his hands. Uzumaki smiled crookedly and ran away. Who knows what he'll get from this meeting? He still hasn't recovered from the meeting between Ba-chan and Sakura-chan. Naruto was sitting in the kitchen preparing his weapons for training when his sister flew into the kitchen, her hair rising up and splitting into 9 strands. And on purpose. The sight of this took my brother's breath away. Why did you put all your friends up with the Sannins? And you forgot about your sister. You forgot, right? No, Naruto said quickly. Your dad and mom will train you, and you'll ask Ba-chan. And now it's time for me to go. Bye. Naruto grabbed the kunai and shuriken and jumped out the window. It doesn't matter how, the main thing is to get away from here. Away from such a sister. 12. 2.5 years later, or what a sister I have. After the event when Naruto settled his friends and sister, 2.5 years passed. On the same day, they went on a journey with Jiraiya, and there, instead of training, they looked for the person who would return Naruto and his friends back to their world, but the search was unsuccessful. Unless, of course, you count the fact that the Sannin wrote a new book, and Kakashi almost fell into a coma from this magnificence. But now they are going back to Konohagakure, and when they return they will have to gather a team and look for this person. And the sooner the better, because they have 6 months left. But no one knows where to look. Probably. Naruto became the same as he was at 16, of course now the power of the 9 tails became easier to control, but Kurama began to warn that soon the merging with the local Naruto would begin and then they would not be able to return back, and Uzumaki himself would die. Well, Kurama was not sure about the death of the blonde, 50-50. And he doesn't need another company, he's doing just fine with Naruto. Having reached the huge gates of Konoha, Naruto stepped over an invisible line and then climbed onto one of the roofs. I'm home, the guy shouted. Naruto. A voice was heard from behind. A very beautiful girl was looking at him, blonde hair tied in a high ponytail, blue eyes like the ocean, traditional Konoha shinobi clothing, consisting of a green flak jacket, a black short-sleeved shirt and short blue leggings. And on purpose? Naruto asked, blinking. Naruto, it's you. When did you get back? The sister smiled when her brother came down to her. The latter was staring. He was looking at his sister and was dumbfounded. You've got quite the sister. Kurama whistled in his subconscious. I have no problem with that, little sister. He voiced his thoughts and received Uzumakov's signature fist. Pervert. Naruto found himself next to the white-haired man who was unconscious. You are luckier. After that, Naruto took his sensei by the collar of his kimono and went to his sister, and the Hokage children went to the Hokage himself. Of course, they met a couple of friends along the way, but in the Hokage's office they were in for a surprise when Sasuke and Sakura were there, both wearing Chunin vests. And then the hysteria began. What is this? Before you can leave, all the Chunins will be here. The younger blonde waved his arms. Actually, everyone here is a Junin, Sasuke corrected him and smiled, the sweetest and most kind-hearted smile, which was not at all like the smile of a winner. Ah, Naruto said. This lasted for about 3 minutes, ending when Jiraiya recovered from the magical kick, and Minato approached his son. No. Well, Naruto stopped mid-sentence as his father hugged him. I'm glad you're back, he whispered. Comment to 12. 2.5 years later, or what a sister I have. As I promised to one person. 13. General Assembly, or the game has begun. This lasted for about 3 minutes, ending when Jiraiya recovered from the magical kick, and Minato approached his son. No. Well, Naruto stopped mid-sentence as his father hugged him. I'm glad you're back, he whispered. What is this outburst of tenderness? Kurama almost growled. He wasn't against Minato Namikaze. Kurama even forgave him for sealing him in Naruto. And it didn't matter that it was necessary to save the village. The fox was against it, for the first 16 years, but then he found his first friend, who saved him from hatred and pain. To be honest, Kurama really liked Naruto. He never gave up, was stubborn as a ram, always got what he wanted. He adhered to one rule: Naruto is the best, and you are just humans. Smug, but that's Kurama. Oh, Uzumaki still remembers how he tried to accept the Uchiha clan. Wait, what do you mean tried? He is still trying and will try. It seems that this is passed on by reincarnation. I'll be waiting for you in the evening, in my office. The older blonde answered quietly and smiled at his son. Naruto was puzzled. As Kurama said, a splash of tenderness came quite unexpectedly. Naruto just nodded, but looking at the people's reactions, they shrugged their shoulders, and the Sannin also looked at the Hokage's surge of tenderness. So, the Hokage sat back down at the table. My son has returned, so I must test you. What have you learned? What is going on here? You will have tests. Hello everyone. A voice came from the window. I hope I'm not late. Kakashi smiled sweetly and walked through the window into the office. Kakashi, what kind of habit is this? There used to be a door for you, what changed? He looked skeptically at the Hokage student, who just shrugged. It looks like something clearly happened here. Naruto's gaze darted around the entire office from his friends to the Sannin. Where was I? The tests. Kakashi will conduct them. Today at the 13th training ground at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. There was a pop and Kakashi disappeared. Minato rolled his eyes. He picked up some habits from Obito and his own came from somewhere. I think everything is clear to you. Now you can rest. Namikaze took the papers again and began running his eyes over the text. Hi. Jiraiya-sensei, could you stay a little longer? The Sannin nodded, and the young men left the office. What did you want? The hermit folded his arms across his chest, and Minato leaned back in his chair. How did Naruto's training go? Training? Namikaze, what are you up to? Your behavior worries me. The hermit thought, anything can be expected from this disciple. Fine. Minato pursed his lips and stood up. He turned his back to the teacher and watched the quiet life of the village. It's fine. What did he learn? I know that he can control the tailed beast, use the thunder god's flight, and ultimately I think he knows the rasengan. When the Kazekage and I were kidnapped, the seal on our cell could have been destroyed by the rasengan technique, maybe something more powerful. What are you getting at? I'm not blind and your changes in behavior are very noticeable. The hermit leaned against the cabinet. A heavy sigh was heard. Danzo. That old man again. If you hear his name, expect trouble. He was already plotting against Orochimaru in that world. He wants to take Naruto by the roots. You understand that he won't agree. The hermit approached the Hokage's desk. I understand this perfectly well. I will not give up my own son. There is one but. But. If I don't give Naruto the root, Danzo will take the last remnants of the fox's chakra from Kushina. Jiraiya was stunned. How can he do that? Minato, there is a seal there that requires a complex key. Minato pursed his lips. Finish the sentence. I don't know how, but they have the key to the seal. Pause. Damn it, I don't know what to do. I don't want to send my son to the root. Our relationship has just normalized. The Sannin would argue with this, but the situation is not such that one can argue. You understand why old man Naruto needs it, right? Jiraiya leaned his hands on the table and looked into Minato's eyes. They noticeably darkened. He will pull the fox out of him and seal it inside himself. I don't know how to subdue it, that will be later. Then he will tell me that my son died on a mission. Minato slammed his fist on the table. Do you have any dirt on him? You need to think logically here. Unfortunately, if there was, I would have closed his shop long ago. Jiraiya sat down on the sofa, and the Hokage back on his rightful chair. Both Toad sages began to think of at least one way out of their situation. This might work. Minato looked up at the teacher. We'll give Naruto a hard time. What? Calm down. Jiraiya approached his student and sat him back in his chair. This will be his mission. He will get the material and you will have dirt on Danzo. Sensei Hokage reasoned. And if he delivers Fox right away? I don't think so. It's very suspicious. Okay. Then I'll talk to Naruto and we'll decide everything. He's a smart guy. Jiraiya nodded and left the office. It will be difficult to convince his daughter and wife that everything will be okay. At least, Minato hopes so. Sasuke and Sakura were chatting about something very enthusiastically. Naruto was mimicking them. No, but would you like it when your friends are 2 ranks higher than you? Almost all are Junin, when the Hokage's son is a genin. Cool. Sasuke-kun. Sasuke-kun. Naruto mimicked Sakura and got a smack on the top of his head for it. Stop it. Dobi is just going crazy. Uchiha grinned. Nothing of the sort. Naruto barked and Kakashi appeared in front of them. Hello. Sorry, Black Cat, I had to. Hitaki looked at the team. The offended Namikaze and the laughing couple. Got it, let's get started. Uchiha and Haruno nodded, and Naruto waited and then nodded. Kakashi explained the rules. They were the same as when they first met. This time the fight will be more serious. Kakashi showed the Sharingan for everyone to see. The tests have begun. Time has been given. Win before midnight. Who said that war heroes would fight? No, Kakashi can't be overworked. They'll play with him. They'll bury him a couple of times, scare him, and then take away his bells. The tests were going well, so thought the Hokage and the 3 Sannin who had come to watch the students and judge their skills. Of all the spectators, the most impressed were Orochimaru, Minato and Kakashi, who was actually finished off earlier in the evening. Pleasantly surprised. You are great. The Hokage came out of hiding. The teachers nodded in satisfaction. Now you are Team Kakashi. Congratulations. After exchanging a few words and congratulating each other, the guys decided to celebrate somewhere. But Naruto and Minato apologized and disappeared in a yellow flash. The Sannins and their student went to celebrate. Oh yeah, Sharingan, Kakashi decided to refuse. He had some business to attend to. What other route? The Hokage's offspring shouted. Fortunately, there was a sound barrier. Calm down, and listen again. The Hokage slammed the table. Naruto plopped down on the couch and looked at his father. Lightning flashed in his eyes. He should be looking for the person who threw them here, not hanging around special forces. Danzo, this old man again. He set a condition. Either you go to the route or... Naruto raised an eyebrow. Or he kills Kushina. How will he do it? This is nonsense. Kushina will make mincemeat out of it herself and fry it, and then serve it for dinner, to the root. He has the key to her seal, I don't know how. Pause. Jiraiya-sensei and I, and the perverted hermit has been spotted here. We decided that you would go to the root and gather evidence on Shimura there. Next. How will I get out of there? Not bad, the Hokage predicted. He was interested in what was next. With you goes. Kakashi appeared in the office. He was again reading his precious treasure. Are you serious? Doesn't it bother you that Shimura won't suspect Kakashi-sensei of anything? He's being stupid. Minato, you're being too stupid. Of course, how could we do without the 9 tails? He also needs to insert his 9 tails. We'll also set him some conditions. I think he'll agree. Naruto sighed heavily and thought. Kakashi and Minato waited for his answer. Okay, but I also set my condition. The student and the teacher exchanged glances. You will agree with Danzo that I will go on regular missions. He needs to get back home, and for that he needs an unknown person to look for. Okay, I'll try. Naruto headed towards the door and was just about to go out when his father's voice stopped him. Thank you, and sorry for everything, Naruto. He nodded and closed the door behind him. If something happens to him, Minato looked at Kakashi. Believe me, all your pornography will burn in a bright flame, and this time for real. A chill ran down Kakashi's spine and he nodded. Leader Sama, the Hokage has agreed to our conditions. Only that his son goes on regular missions and that Hitaki Kakashi is with him at the route. The elderly man reported to his friend, who was sitting in the dark and wearing a mask. That makes it more difficult, but okay. You can go, the stranger replied. Commentary on 13. General Assembly or the game has begun. I'm crying, really hard. Guys, this is this wonderful person. Voiced my fanfic and there are 10,000 views. And positive comments. I especially like the voice of this wonderful person. Channel of a beautiful person. I wanted so much for him to voice my works, but I didn't think it would happen. I thought. Who needs it? Okay, I hope you liked it. Enjoy the new part. The game has just begun. 14. Call number 2 or the power gets out of control. Okay, but I also set my condition. The student and the teacher exchanged glances. You will agree with Danzo that I will go on regular missions. He needs to get back home, and for that he needs an unknown person to look for. Okay, I'll try. Naruto headed towards the door and was just about to go out when his father's voice stopped him. Thank you, and sorry for everything, Naruto. He nodded and closed the door behind him. If something happens to him, Minato looked at Kakashi. Believe me, all your pornography will burn in a bright flame, and this time for real. A chill ran down Kakashi's spine and he nodded. Leader Sama, the Hokage has agreed to our conditions. Only that his son goes on regular missions and that Hitaki Kakashi is with him at the route. the elderly man reported to his friend, who was sitting in the dark and wearing a mask. That makes it more difficult, but okay. You can go, the stranger replied. Danzo disappeared at that very moment. The game has begun. Soon you will be free again, Kaguya-sama. Naruto walked through the village to the very house of the Arrow Sannin. This is all fine and dandy, but agreeing to give him up for Danzo's upbringing. It's already beyond any bounds. Having reached the two-story house, Naruto began to knock on the door until he felt someone's skin instead of a board, and it was Jiraiya's chest. Naruto, what do you want? Just now, the Sannin looked back into the house and appeared a second later. Only 7 in the morning. What do you want from me? Uzumaki seethed. You, the old pervert gave me to Danzo. How could you agree? The godson screamed, which woke the hermit up completely. Don't yell. Jiraiya covered Naruto's mouth. The Sannin pulled Naruto into the house and put up a protective seal so that no one could hear them. Why are you shouting so loudly? Yes, I agreed to Minato's condition, but I don't know if you know that Kushina could be killed. I know, the blonde muttered. I don't know where this old man got her seal from, the hermit frowned. Change it. There is no way to change it. A heavy sigh. To do this, we need to open this seal, and if we open this seal, then the remnants of the Nine Tails chakra will simply disappear and Kushina will die. A pause. And what would you do? There is no other option. The Sannin shook his head. You are right. Calm down, Kakashi will be with you, right? Naruto nodded. I suggest you have a training session, you can have fun with the whole team, we can take Naruto too. That's a good idea. Then I'll go with you, and I'll also call Suna and Orochimaru. And Minato, too, tell me you want him, right? The Sannin didn't have time to finish, as he saw a satisfied smile. Great, then today at noon. I'll find my team in the meantime. See you there. Naruto flew out of Sensei's house and rushed off to find the guys, so what if it's 8 o'clock in the morning, big deal. Polygon number 7, noon. No one had ever seen Uzumaki so tired and exhausted, and also beaten. Although it was his own fault. Who knew that Sakura was changing clothes at that time, and Sasuke was taking a shower, Kakashi was near the waterfall, but let's take everything in order. Flashback. Naruto rushed to the Uchiha quarter. He got there without any problems, although there was one problem, he forgot where Sasuke lived. After passing 3 houses, where he was scolded well, because what kind of idiots needs to yell at 8 in the morning under open windows, Sasuke? Somehow reaching his friend's house, he knocked on the door and was opened by a rather tired Itachi in an Anbu uniform and there was blood on this uniform. Uzumaki almost had a stroke. Naruto-kun, long time no see. The clan head's eldest son smiled sweetly. Itachi, what is it that you're bleeding about? The face of the Hokage's son was pale as chalk, and the blonde was shaking all over. This. Just got hurt on a mission. No big deal. Are you for Sasuke? Naruto nodded in relief, then nodded. 2nd floor, left door. Thank you. The blonde slipped into the house and went up to the 2nd floor and it seems Naruto has either a memory problem or a spatial orientation problem. Because he confused the door and opened the right one instead of the left one. And that was the bathroom. Tomato. My favorite tomato. Sasuke sang in the mirror in a towel with a comb instead of a microphone, and how can you not laugh at this? Moron. Sasuke immediately reacted and threw several shampoos at his friend. Sasuke, I'm sorry. Naruto closed the door. Today, training at noon. Bye. Uzumaki felt a terrible key from behind the door and fled the crime scene, but shampoo got into him, and more than once. Then Uzumaki got to Sakura. No, he didn't get the wrong door or anything, he just didn't knock on it. Hello, Sakura-cha. No, if Sasuke had shampoo, then Haruno had a hair dryer, an iron and a couple more heavy objects, there was even a hammer, although where did the girl get it from? Who knows, girls are strange people, but the fact that there was a wild scream, yes. A little beaten Naruto went to look for Sensei Kakashi. It was hell. Finding out where Obito, Rin, Asuma, Kurenai and Guy lived was not as difficult as finding Kakashi. He visited these senseis several times, and then when he found Hataki's house, where he was not, he was furious. He also ran around the village several times, and believe me, it is not small, and ran around the training grounds, and then purely by chance went to the training ground, where there was a waterfall nearby, which, by the way, Naruto cut in his world, he found Kakashi. Guess what he was doing? That's right, he just lay there. Kakashi-sensei. Naruto growled. Hataki didn't open his eyes. Kakashi-sensei. What? Kakashi asked wearily. I looked for you all over the village. I found out where everyone lives, and you just lie here. Seriously, Naruto shouted, which made Hatake wince. Don't scream, please, Kakashi asked calmly. Naruto came and stood next to him. He opened his eyes and they were red, as if Hatake hadn't slept for several nights. What's wrong with you? I don't know. My head hurts unbearably. You don't look any better, snorted the Hokage's offspring. What did you want? I want to invite you to training, but I see. Let's go. He didn't let the student finish. Kakashi stood up, swayed a little and, one might say, smiled, a forced smile. That's how Naruto ended up on the training ground with Kakashi. Although Uzumaki tried to dissuade the sensei, he stood his ground. By 12, Sakura, Sasuke and two Sannin came, and then, literally a couple of minutes later, in a yellow flash, the Hokage and Jiraiya. Where's Naruto? Jiraiya asked, turning his head. Uzumaki shrugged, but two female figures appeared on the horizon. A blonde and a red-haired one. Mother. Kushina. The two Namikaze members were shocked. If the blonde looked like her usual self, the red-haired woman was wearing a shinobi uniform and was clearly ready for training. Didn't expect that, Uzumaki grinned. I see everyone is here, Jiraiya rubbed his palms. I propose the Sannin against Team 7. Kakashi, you are not participating yet. Everyone nodded in agreement to Jiraiya's suggestions. Everyone dispersed, and the opponents remained in the open area. Start, Naruto shouted and the training began. Technique after technique, and blow after blow. Not even 10 minutes had passed when Naruto, Sasuke and Sakura felt huge surges of chakra and stopped. They gathered together again, breathing heavily and standing with their backs to each other. Do you feel it too? The kunoichi asked and the boys nodded at the same time. Naruto tried to contact Kurama, but everything was clear. I can't contact Kurama. Uzumaki felt a burning pain all over his body, just like Sasuke and Sakura. What is this? Asked Uchiha. The bodies of the teenagers began to be enveloped by chakra. Naruto's was orange, it was the Nine Tails cloak. The head became blood red with a vertical pupil. Sakura had green chakra, Byakugo on her forehead and it activated. Sasuke's chakra was almost purple and it took the form of Susanoo, the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan burned in his right eye, and the Rinnegan in his left. I can't do anything, Naruto shouted as everyone present appeared near them. What's going on? Naruto screamed. Naruto already had a fourth tail, Sasuke almost had all of his Susanoo, and Sakura's Byakugo had activated. The Nine Tails. But then, what about Uchiha and Haruno? Minato asked. The girl hit the ground and it shattered into pieces. Sakura. Tsunade shouted. Naruto. The blonde struck with 5 tails. This has to stop, Orochimaru said, but Sasuke used some technique and Sakura and Naruto's chakra mixed with his purple. Kushina and Naruto, can you take them with chains? The girls nodded and rushed to the guys. But as soon as they used the technique on Team 7, the chains literally flew apart, and Naruto had an 8th tail. Damn, but when everyone was ready for the appearance of the 9th tail of Uzumaki, it did not happen. Calm down, Sasuke said and his eyes turned dark again, then Sakura came to her senses. Sasuke, what's going on? Later, we need to help Naruto. The shinobi present were stunned by what was happening. Naruto and Kushina-san, try the chains again. Sasuke activated the Sharingan. Naruto. The Jinchuriki looked at the brunette and he was immediately grabbed by chains, and his cover began to come off. Burns remained in its place. Uzumaki opened his eyes and saw stunned faces. Where am I? And then darkness came, like with Sasuke and Sakura. What just happened to them? Minato asked, confused. The influence of the Nine Tails. The Sannin came up with an excuse, everyone looked at him in surprise, but Tsunade nodded. After this training, a few days passed before Team 7 woke up. Of course, there were discussions about why this happened, but they agreed on the Nine Tails version. By the way, about Kurama, Naruto can still contact him, you could say that the entrance to his own subconscious is blocked. A couple more days pass, and Naruto learns that tomorrow he has to start serving in Anbu, or rather Root. That day, Kakashi brought a uniform and a porcelain mask in the form of a fox and said, I'm waiting for you, you can come and pick me up at 7. You know where I live. And disappeared. That's it, Kakashi-sensei. Uzumaki doesn't like his exhausted look at all. The next day, as sensei said, Naruto came to him, but not through the door, but through the window. And he saw strangely, Kakashi was spinning first one way, then the other. Uzumaki decided to knock, and at that moment Kakashi was already sitting on the bed and was obviously breathing heavily. Kakashi-sensei, are you okay? Pause. Maybe I should call you senpai. Hatake turns around and is met with a fox mask. But Naruto takes it off and waves his hand. Sensei's eyes are wide and his breathing is ragged. End Naruto. Commentary on 14. Call number 2 or the force is out of control. Sorry it took so long, don't hit with slippers. 15. New guests are rude. Kakashi-sensei, are you okay? Pause. Maybe I should call you senpai. Hatake turns around and is met with a fox mask. But Naruto takes it off and waves his hand. Sensei's eyes are wide and his breathing is ragged. End Naruto. Hatake literally falls on his butt and crawls away from the window, but crashes into the wall. Kakashi-sensei, are you okay? I was joking about senpai. Naruto opens the window and goes inside the apartment. Naruto approaches his mentor and holds out his hand. Kakashi takes advantage of this, twists it, and then hangs over the blondes, pinning them to the floor. Who are you? Hatake asks in a cold tone. Kakashi-sensei, you've completely lost your mind. You don't recognize your own student. The blonde is indignant. If only, my student disappeared a few years ago. Kakashi presses Naruto harder to the floor. What? Naruto almost understands the current situation, if not for one question. How did Kakashi-sensei get here? Sensei, calm down, please, I'll explain everything now. Try it. Hatake doesn't let go of Uzumaki, although he no longer resists. We're in another world. You see, father, mother, Ero-sanin, Ba-chan live here. What? Hatake asks in a devastated voice. Yes, Obito and Rin are alive here. Yes, Kakashi-sensei, let us in. The Junin's grip weakens and he moves away from the blonde. Naruto helps his mentor get up and sits him down on the bed. It's true. There was no fourth war here. Pause. Do you believe me? Kakashi nods his head and then looks into his student's eyes. So, you didn't die. Naruto shakes his head and smiles happily, but Kakashi's gaze darkens, which doesn't escape Naruto. I guess I should tell you. Sasuke and Sakura, they disappeared too. Don't worry. They are here too, like Ero-sanin and Ba-chan. The Jinchuriki laughs, but Kakashi is speechless. He lived these 3 years in a nightmare of losing dear people. They talk a little more. Naruto tells about life here, and Kakashi there. He tells that they have a few months left to expose the person who sent them here. I see. Kakashi gives his verdict. I see you have become Anbu. Kakashi smiles with his eyes. Naruto scratched his head guiltily and began to tell about his service in Anbu. Towards the end Kakashi had an elongated face and was looking at his uniform. Repeat. What is my goal? Follow me, and as Minato said, if something happens to him, believe me, all your pornography will burn in a bright flame, and this time for real. That is, with me. We just burned your books once. Naruto made air quotes. Okay, you can wait for me outside. Uzumaki goes outside, where it smells of morning freshness, and literally 10 minutes later Kakashi comes out in an Anbu uniform and a porcelain mask. Let's go. Hatake sighed heavily. He didn't want to put on this uniform again. The teacher and student walked to the headquarters in complete silence. Kakashi was thinking, and Naruto simply did not interfere with him doing this. When they approached the department, Danzo met them. Namikaze Naruto and Hatake Kakashi, the named ones, took off their masks. Good. I think we should discuss some things. The old man walked forward, followed by Kakashi and Naruto. The shinobi looked at each other and tried to remember the way out of this area. The shinobi went down and up the stairs several times, but eventually walked down a long corridor and turned into some door. Sit down. The shinobi remained standing, but Danzo went behind the table and sat down in a chair. First, I will assign you a task. There will be a few more people with you. Everything is in this scroll. Shimura threw the scroll into Hataki's hands. I think you can handle it for now. Go in. Naruto-kun, could you stay a little longer? Hatake will ask you to leave. No. Hatake cut him off coldly, and Shimura frowned. Don't worry, everything will be fine. Wait for me outside the door, the blonde responded. Kakashi frowned, but Danzo relaxed. Kakashi nodded and left the office. What did you want to talk to me about? You want revenge, right? Naruto almost choked on air. To whom? Danzo smiled broadly, which meant Uzumaki wanted revenge. But Naruto wasn't even embarrassed. He didn't want revenge, he wanted to wring the neck of the man in front of him. Let's say to your father, Uzumaki frowned. Or to your mother, sister. Why do you need this? Uzumaki decided to play to the end. Help. No, well Naruto couldn't resist this and chuckled. Don't believe me. I know a man who will help you control the Biju. Now this is already interesting. I see you're interested, your mission is tomorrow, I'm waiting for you here tonight. I hope you'll find me. Just in private, okay. Uzumaki nodded. Go. Naruto went out and met a serious Kakashi. What were you talking about? He asked about my abilities, the blonde smiled crookedly. Okay. Kakashi believed. The mission will be tomorrow. Naruto nodded. I suggest we go and stretch our legs, Naruto smiled brightly. If I win, you owe me ramen. Sensei grinned under his mask, but agreed. If there were no missions today, then he could relax. They changed clothes and came to the training ground. Kakashi got a bell and Naruto understood this hint perfectly. Let's see what's changed, Kakashi grinned. The sparring had gotten so bad that Kakashi was sweating, and the two remaining students had come to the training ground. Naruto. Kakashi-sensei. It was the latter's mistake that he missed the blow. I won. Sensei, you owe me ramen. Yeah. Kakashi looked at his students with such joy, he wanted to hug them so much. Kakashi-sensei from our world, Uzumaki blurted out. The boy's eyes widened and then it began. Hugs for the entire shinobi world, Naruto also got caught in them. At first there was drama, and then everyone was smiling, even the brick face was smiling. Sensei told them everything, as did Naruto. Afterwards, they went to Ichiraku, where Team 7 met a couple in love. Of course, they were hinted at, Tsunade got it perfectly, but the hermit was almost told directly. Sometimes Jiraiya is stupider than Naruto. They ate, had another sparring match, and then Naruto said he had to run errands because it was a family dinner. His friends let him go easily, but two of the teachers noticed something was wrong and decided to leave the group. Kakashi, you were assigned to root as well, weren't you? Hatake nodded. I assume he went there. I don't know why, but I understand, I knew he wasn't telling me something. He bit his lower lip under the mask. I followed him. I'll cover you. Kakashi nodded in gratitude and disappeared. Naruto ran home, changed his clothes and went to the headquarters. He found the right floor, corridor and door. After knocking, he was allowed to enter. Naruto-kun, you finally came, Shimura smiled contentedly. Yes. Pause. Why do you want to help me? What is your benefit? Nothing, Danzo answered calmly. I don't like that you're suffering. That's why I decided to help. You said that it is possible to pacify the demon. Yes, you can. Tomorrow after the mission, I'll introduce you to someone. Okay. Uzumaki agreed. Can I go? Yes. Naruto left the office, walked a little and was immediately knocked down by Anbu. Where to? And why did you go there? Kakashi-sensei. Naruto was helped up, but his head immediately began to hurt unbearably, and everything started to swim before his eyes. Damn it, Naruto, what did they do to you? Naruto. The last thing Naruto heard was how he plunged into darkness. Comment to 15. New guests or root. I thought about posting it not now, but then I decided. Well, you want a new part. 16. Old friend Kagaya made her presence known. Kakashi-sensei. Naruto was helped up, but his head immediately began to hurt unbearably, and everything started to swim before his eyes. Damn it, Naruto, what did they do to you? Naruto. The last thing Naruto heard was how he plunged into darkness. Uzumaki found himself in an unknown place. There was only darkness around. Died. The first thought. What makes you think that? A voice said. Sleep. You. And not only that, it was Matabi's voice. A few seconds later, the tailed beast surrounded him. Naruto looked at all the demons and his gaze stopped on Kurama. The fox sat as if nothing had happened. You red-haired face. Flea-ridden rug. I can't get through to you. I can't get in touch. Naruto began his tirade about Kurama. Naruto, let's do it later. It was still awkward in front of his friends and relatives. No, right now, you fox face. By the way, I was worried about you. Don't get upset, Naruto. He, like all of us, was gathering information and looking for the person who dragged you here, Yuki said. Uzumaki snorted. Kakashi-sensei, here too now. The tailed beasts exchanged glances. So Matabi's theory is confirmed, the one-tail said. Naruto raised an eyebrow, interested. Theory? What kind of theory? The animals looked at each other. The person who did this to you contacted another one of himself. But we can't say for sure which one. Either one of your world contacted this one, or vice versa, Son explained, and Naruto thought. He thought one thought after another. How did he do it? Uzumaki asked. We have one option. Kurama's voice rang out. Naruto didn't even look at him. Gura, why should I talk to him if he doesn't even look at me? Why should I talk to you when you didn't warn me that you would leave? Nothing terrible would have happened to you. If I had left, you wouldn't have even remembered. Kurama blurted out. A heavy silence fell. That's not true. Naruto's quiet but serious voice cut through the atmosphere of silence. You are dear to me, Kurama, and it's not true that I would forget about you. Isobu decided to change the subject. About the theory. It's crazy, but there's nothing else to do. Most likely, the man made a contract with Kagaya. What? Naruto shouted. But we defeated her. It doesn't mean she didn't find a way to return. Maybe Zetsu left a receiver. Anything is possible, the tailed ones reasoned. I understand. You found this man. The demons fell silent. Yes and no, said the seven-tailed. We'll be able to sense it, through chakra. So what? Are we just going to sit here? No. Yuki shook his muzzle. First, I want to go to B. Second, we have a plan. You create 8 clones and give each one a piece of yourself. We will find this chakra. The search may take a long time, Naruto said with all seriousness. We must not allow this to happen. Good. If this is the plan, then it will be like this. It's time for you to wake up. You've been out cold for 3 hours already, Shukaku warned, and horror appeared on Naruto's face. What? Was the last thing Naruto said and fell into darkness again. Could you let this happen? Hatake, I told you I'd burn your vulgarity. Naruto barely opened his eyes and heard this. Dad, he's coming too. A voice came from very close. Naruto, can you hear me? Kushina's voice. The picture is clearer. He blinks a few times and sees his family and a chalk-white Kakashi. What? Happened. You were in Route Anbu, Naruto nodded. He remembered that. I met you there and you fell unconscious. What were you doing there? I don't remember, Naruto lied. If I tell it, at least not in front of the whole family. Although the younger blonde regretted not telling everything from the very beginning. And only Kakashi, Jiraiya know about Anbu. Damn, the Hokage hisses. Okay, get some rest. I have a mission tomorrow. A pause. Naruto gets up from the bed, although his mother and sister try to hold him back. I need to get ready. Sorry, but I can't just lie here. Naruto, but. No. Nine-Tails already fixed everything. Naruto gets up from the bed, puts on his clothes and looks at Hatake. Sensei, tomorrow at 6 by the gate. Warn the others. Kakashi nods. Naruto leaves the room. This is your last warning, Kakashi. Minato lets out a key, and Hatake nods like a Maneki Neko. The Junin leaves and the room begins to breathe heavily. Minato turns and sees his wife, whose hair has already stood on end. If something happens to my son, I'll kill Shimura first, and then you. Minato nodded. No worse than Kakashi. The next day at 6 in the morning, 5 shinobi stood near the huge gates. Our goal is to take the scroll at any cost and leave no traces, one of the Anbu said to No. Everyone nodded and the mission began. And everything seemed to be going well. They reached the borders of the Land of Fire, as the comrades surrounded Kakashi and Naruto. What's happening? The mission objective has changed, said the guy in the deer mask. Put up a barrier, shouted another. Kakashi-sensei. Hatake's Sharingan activated and Naruto was just about to enter Nine-Tails mode when a hand touched his back. Everything swam before his eyes. Damn, Kakashi saw the student sag. He turned and struck straight at the porcelain mask. But 2 more attacked him, and the third, whom he sort of knocked out, was stabbed from behind with a katana. Gura, there was a metallic taste in my mouth. We're taking the target. The Anbu took Naruto's body, covered their tracks, and left only Hatake. Uzumaki, damn it, wake up. They're dragging you to who knows where, and Hatake might even kick the bucket. Naruto. But no one answered Kurama. They were attacked. Naruto was unknown where. Hatake could die and Kurama would get a rap on the head. We'll have to take everything into our own hands. Kurama concentrated chakra in his entire body and opened his eyes the next moment. The first thing the fox saw through the eyes of the Jinchuriki was a painfully bright light. As it turned out, he was lying on the table. Hands, legs, in general, his entire body was tied up and voices were everywhere. He saw a figure, and when the picture became clearer it turned out to be Shimura. Damn, are you already in Konoha? How much time has passed? Danzo-sama, he's awake. Someone's voice rang out. I see. I'm not blind. Danzo almost shouted. Let's take control of the situation. Hiya. Kurama began to conduct chakra more strongly, which caused his body to become covered in orange chakra. Damn it, Fox. Faster, the seal. You won't get it, you pathetic little people. Once the body was released, Kurama jumped up and began forming a tailed beast bomb. RRR. Your time has come. The fox growled and launched the equipment. He destroyed a good part of the room, if not all, and ran at full speed. Aha, so we're not in Konoha, let's turn on my sensors and look for this gray misunderstanding. Kurama detected a weak source a couple of kilometers away. Uzumaki, you will owe me. Fox got to Kakashi pretty quickly. And Sensei, apparently, almost kicked the bucket. Kurama sighed. He didn't heal the paws with his own hands, no, he didn't heal them with his own paws. Placing his hands on the bleeding wound and concentrating his chakra there, things started to move. Kakashi slowly began to open his eyes. Naru.to. No, Kyuubi, Naruto growled in a rough voice, causing Kakashi to flinch and want to jump up. Lie down, no one let you get up, he snorted in a softer voice. Nine tails. How clever we are, the fox quipped. What about Naruto? Your Naruto was disabled. Danzo and his dogs decided to attack. Damn, Minato warned me. Don't worry, he won't burn your vulgarity, Uzumaki is safe, Kurama grinned. Kakashi blushed under his mask. You need to stop reading books in front of everyone. Kurama, I think you can release us in clones, and we will go in search of chakra. Sun's voice was heard. Okay. The fox stopped the treatment, concentrated chakra and created 8 clones and used hunch. Kakashi did not understand such an action, so he frowned and remained silent. If there's any news, we'll pass it on, said one of the clones. Kurama nodded and in the next few seconds the clones dissolved, and Lee continued his treatment. Why are we blinking like that? We're getting treatment, not counting crows. Commentary on 16. Old friend Kagaya made her presence known. Maneki Neko is a cat with a paw, it nods with its head and paw. It's been less than 100 years since I posted this part. Hi guys. 17. A difficult decision. Comment to 17. Complex solution you read at your own risk. If there's any news, we'll pass it on, said one of the clones. Kurama nodded and in the next few seconds the clones dissolved, and Lee continued his treatment. Why are we blinking like that? We're getting treatment, not counting crows. Kurama grumbled. When Uzumaki is able to speak, I'll ask him to tell me everything, it will be easier that way. Hitaki nodded. When Kurama finished, he helped Kakashi up and they headed back to the village. When we reach the gate, Kurama said, seeing the entrance to Konoha. I won't be controlling the body. Can you carry it? Kurama looked at Kakashi. Okay, he believed. Reaching the entrance, Kurama nodded to him and immediately stopped controlling Uzumaki's body. Kakashi picked him up and immediately headed to the hospital. Tsunade and Sakura were in the hospital, and seeing Hitaki covered in blood and Uzumaki in her arms, Senju clutched her heart. What happened? We were attacked, the teacher answered briefly. Sakura, call Jiraiya-san and the Hokage immediately, this is very important. The girl immediately nodded and ran to the men. Tsunade led Hitaki into the first ward, who immediately laid the student on the couch, and the woman began to check his condition. Literally a couple of minutes later Minato and Jiraiya were in the room. Namikaze rushed at Hitaki, grabbing him by the chest. Minato. The Sannin began to separate them. What did I tell you? Follow Naruto. If it weren't for the Sannin, the fight would have started in the ward. Stop it, Jiraiya said, holding Namikaze. Kakashi. We went on a mission, walked a few kilometers and were surrounded. I don't know what kind of technique it was, but Naruto immediately lost consciousness. It was root. Right on the very first mission, Minato punched the wall. Stop destroying my hospital. Tsunade yelled at him. He's fine, he should wake up soon. They just switched him off. Better think about what we're going to do. The plan failed. Not quite, Uzumaki said weakly and everyone looked at him. Son, how are you? It's been worse, the blonde chuckled. I'll tell you my plan later, tonight, at our house. We'll need to call Sasuke, Sakura, and Mom with Naruto. But. No, buts, it's necessary, they will know. Minato looked into his son's eyes and nodded. Okay, the Hokage nodded. Are you sure you're okay? Yes, I'm fine, you can go back to the residence. Minato pursed his lips, but nodded anyway. A yellow flash and the Hokage seemed to have never been there. What's going on? Jiraiya asked. We will tell everyone where we are from and who we are. The three shinobi were shocked. We have a few months left, otherwise we will merge with these individuals, and we ourselves will perish, just like our world. Are you sure? Kakashi asked. Naruto nodded. Then there's something else, but you'll hear it when we get together. Naruto was walking home. He assured everyone that he was fine and no, he wouldn't faint on the way. The sun was shining outside, the birds were singing. It will be right, they should know the truth in any case. You know it yourself. True, but I don't want to leave here. I feel good here. I understand, but if you don't come back, you'll just be replaced, and your soul will die. Have you thought about the people who remain in your world? I understand you, Kurama. Naruto entered the house, no one was there. Mom was most likely at Makota's, and his sister was training. Damn, how will Gaara find out? Shukaku will tell him. Don't get upset, the Nine Tails reassured. Okay. Naruto sat down on the couch in the living room and thought. In this world, all those who died in his were alive. How will the guys react to this news? They are happy here, and he is too. He has a family. Yes, it was hard at first, but everything has changed. You have a family in our world too, Kurama said between thoughts. Okay, I have to do this, because I can't just die. The evening passed unnoticed while Uzumaki and Kurama thought about how and what they would talk about. It was difficult, especially when the thought came that they might hate him, that he had taken the place of their son. The time for the meeting came and everyone gathered in the living room. Naruto stood in front of them and exhaled, raised his blue eyes and said. It's time for you to know something. Comment to 17. Complex solution. It's just shocking now, right? The continuation of the fanfic, unbelievable. After rereading it, I just want to say that you read all this at your own risk. Love you. 18. Truth. Comment to 18. Truth you read at your own risk. The time for the meeting came and everyone gathered in the living room. Naruto stood in front of them and exhaled, raised his blue eyes and said. It's time for you to know something. I want to start from the very beginning. Some shinobi tensed up. It was the day before the Genin exam. Then, for the first time, I, like Sasuke and Sakura, showed at least some shinobi skills. After that, we passed the exam with flying colors, passed Kakashi-sensei's test, where they somehow turned him off and left him without chakra, then there was a mission, and then the Chunin exam. Everyone was surprised how the weakest students became the strongest. Naruto, are you sure? Uchiha asked, looking into his friend's eyes. They should know, Sasuke nodded. It just so happens that we're from another world. What? The Uzumaki Namikaze couple asked again. We were moved into this world and we took the place of these children, that's why everything started to look so strange. Then, where is our Naruto, and Sasuke and Sakura? Kushina asked. They are here too, but, you could say that they are sleeping and have no access to consciousness and body. Why did you decide to reveal this secret now? The Hokage asked, looking into his eyes. Now the picture began to come together. If we don't return to our world in a few months, we will merge with these versions, roughly speaking, we will die. What? Everyone has already asked the question. And you kept quiet. Then, damn it, Sasuke rubbed the bridge of his nose. To be honest, he didn't want to go back. This world was good, Itachi and the clan were here, everything he could dream of. How do we get back? I don't know. First we needed to find a point of contact between the worlds, but the tailed beast said that we won't be able to return like that, so we need to find the person who sent us. Most likely, this person was able to contact Kagaya or something. Everything is very confusing there. So, now we need to find a person who can bring us back. This is precisely why our powers are breaking out, we are starting to connect with our versions from this world. Kami-sama, Kushina covered her face with her hands. Her son is not her son, or maybe her son, but then he is a real son. No, she can stand it. Minato was also shocked by the confession, but looking at the Sannin and his student, he did not see that they were even surprised. Wait, why aren't you surprised? You see, Minato, Jiraiya took responsibility. We're from there too, only Tsunade and I have been here for a long time and we're not in danger, otherwise we would have long ago merged, but Kakashi just recently, Hatake shrugged and nodded. Tell me, what is your world like? Naruto spoke up. Everyone fell silent. Is it that bad there? Kakashi-sensei, let's do it yourself, Naruto suggested and now the attention was on Hatake. Let's start with the fact that in our team, Minato-sensei, only I am left, Hitaki began on a not very pleasant note. Obito died. Rin too. Fortunately, Kakashi did not say how. You and Kushina-san died on October 10th, the seal did not hold and the fox broke free. Naruto, forgive me, but you are not in our world, the girl nodded. Sasuke, the guy agreed to tell the story. Itachi, his brother, killed the entire clan to save the village, the Uzumaki Namikaze gasped. Sakura has everything as it is in our world. Jiraiya died during one mission, he had to find information about the enemy, Tsunade died during the Fourth War. And my students, Kakashi looked at the guys. They became the strongest shinobi in the world, but Naruto died on a mission, just after becoming Hokage, and then Sakura and Sasuke went missing, as far as I know, Gaara also died a few months after you. What a horror, there was a tense silence. Why did Itachi wipe out the clan? The Uchihas could have staged a coup, since after the Fox's attack on Konoha, they saw the Sharingan in his eyes, they were considered guilty, but Danzo was involved, Minato frowned. Shimura. Damn it. The Hokage jumped up. I don't know what we're going to do about your problem, but we'll definitely help you get back. Yes, Kushina confirmed. Everyone looked at each other. That is, you are not angry that we hid the truth. It's not your fault, Namikaze said seriously. And, you're still our son, no matter that you're from another world. Naruto pursed his lip and then his father hugged him tightly. Thank you, Minato nodded. Kushina and Naruto joined in a few seconds later. I need to go to the residence, Jiraiya raised an eyebrow. I know how to solve the problem with Danzo and find dirt on him, put him in jail, and maybe even execute him. I'll tell you later. A yellow flash and the Hokage disappeared. They sat and talked for a while, and then began to disperse. Naruto asked if the friends would tell their parents, and after a bit of hesitation they finally agreed. They needed to know the truth too. When Kushina, Naruto and Naruto were left in the house, they were silent. Sometimes they exchanged glances. I'm sorry that it turned out this way, really, the guy decided to break the silence. It's not your fault, Uzumaki said decisively. As Minato said, you're our son. And anyway, it's time for you both to go to bed. Come on, come on. Kushina sent the children to their rooms. When Uzumaki entered his, he breathed a sigh of relief, like a stone from his soul, but the main thing was that they did not hate him. He sat on the bed and began to look at the night sky, when someone knocked on his door and Naruto entered the room. Can I? Naruto nodded. I wanted to say that. You are the best brother. In a fit of emotion, she jumped on him and hugged him tightly. Thank you, she whispered. I was afraid that you would hate me. The girl pulled away from him and shook her head. You are our family, Naruto. Comment to 18. Truth well, sort of. 19. Problem solving. Commentary on 19. Problem solving you read at your own risk. Naruto woke up quite early, but he didn't decide to get up yet, he just looked at the white ceiling. Yesterday they told him everything and talked about everything. It's good that the worst fears were not confirmed and his parents didn't throw him out on the street or worse. Kurama was silent in the morning. Uzumaki shrugged his shoulders, he tried to call him, but everything was clear, he was probably busy with something. After taking a shower and changing clothes, he went down to the kitchen, where his mother was preparing breakfast. Good morning, the woman turned around and gave him a warm smile. Good, tomorrow is almost ready, the guy nodded. Could you wake up your sister? Of course, Naruto went back out and went up to the second floor again, this time he approached Naruto's room. He knocked 3 times but heard nothing, so he decided to go in. Naruto was wrapped in a blanket, sleeping and muttering something. Uzumaki grinned. Naruto, wake up, we have a mission, the blonde shouted and the girl jumped out of bed, she got tangled in the blanket and would have fallen down, but her brother managed to catch her. Good morning, the guy giggled. Mom is calling for dinner. Huh, the girl asked again, still not waking up. Naruto chuckled at this and went back to the kitchen, having shouted beforehand that he was waiting for her at breakfast. Returning back, Naruto helped set the table. By this time, his sister had just arrived and the 3 of them began to have breakfast. Naruto, Minato said that you should go to the residence after breakfast. They seem to have found a way to bring you back or something. He was in a hurry, so he didn't tell me anything in detail. Uzumaki nodded to his mother and quickly finished his meal and went to his father, before shouting that he had left. Are you prepared for them to leave if Dad finds a way? Naruto asked, looking at her plate. No, I'm not ready, but I won't let my son die. The woman looked at the place where the guy was sitting. Oh yeah, Obito-kun came by, he said that you have training at 10. What? The girl looked at her watch and jumped up. Damn it. Don't swear, young lady. Naruto stood at the threshold of the Hokage's office, where the whole team was gathered, Jiraiya, Sasuke's father Fugaku and Itachi. Finally, everyone's here, Minato said, nodding to himself. Naruto, to stop your flow of questions, Fugaku and Itachi know everything. Uzumaki looked at Sasuke, who shrugged. What did you want to talk about? The younger blonde asked, sitting down next to Sakura. I think it would be better to start with Danzo Shimura, no one is against it. Having received no refusal, the Hokage continued. Yesterday, when you told about your world and revealed the whole truth, I latched onto the fact that the Uchiha clan was completely destroyed. And Shimura contributed to this, since the clan wanted to raise a rebellion, but we would have had one too if we had not talked and come to a peace agreement. But here, I did not know that Danzo could make such an attempt, I did not even guess, it was very stupid of me. Therefore, having dug through the papers, I found what I was looking for in. The Hokage paused, looking at everyone with his blue eyes. In our world, Danzo also had a hand in this. Minato took out several folders. Here, that's all I could find with the help of Jiraiya-sensei, Fugaku, and Itachi, but it's enough to get Danzo locked up in the blood prison. They're already working on it, so by tomorrow, Danzo Shimura will be declared a traitor to the village. Naruto looked at everyone present who were as surprised as he was. They did it so fast, all it took was a tip and that was it. Now, is there any danger? Our world does not, or rather the village, Namikaze sighed and became serious again. As for your problem, we found a way to move in parallel worlds, strong enough shinobi could do it, but even for them the consequences were not the best. The worst thing could be death. Wait, you mean to tell me that the person who brought us here is dead? Perhaps, the Hokage nodded. But then, how do we get back to our world? Minato took out a parchment from the drawer. This is, so to speak, a supposed instruction, but it requires a huge expenditure of chakra. That's not the problem, is it? Kakashi spoke up and Minato nodded. We can't be sure that the person who carried you is definitely dead, so there is a risk, quite a big one. If we knew that the person was alive, then such problems would not have arisen. Is there anyone who can't stand the passage between worlds? Yes, there are many options. The cabin fell silent. He's most likely dead. The Hokage's son was the first to break the silence. Since there's no news from the tailed beasts, which means they can't detect chakra, we'll have to take a risk. But, what worries me is why they didn't tell me about this method. They couldn't have not known, right? Yeah, Sasuke confirmed. Maybe they didn't want to sacrifice anyone, knowing you. I think we need to think and make a plan so that the move will bring us as few problems as possible, everyone agreed with Kakashi. Then that's it, everyone can go free, except for those I told to stay. Only Team 7 left the office, and then the door closed. And how did you tell your parents? They still think I'm playing a joke on them, but I think they believed me, Sakura replied. When I showed the Rinnegan, the whole clan pumped out my father, Sasuke snorted and everyone laughed. They believed me. They walked for a while and talked about everything until Naruto suggested visiting Ichiraku for lunch. As soon as I can contact Kurama, I'll tell you right away, maybe he'll help, everyone nodded. How much time do we have left? Several months. I think we'll make it in time. Commentary on 19. Problem solving. Sorry the chapter is late, I love everyone very much. I would like to thank N10000 for the wonderful gift. I love you all. 20. Time to go home. Comment to 20. Time to go home. You read at your own risk. When everyone had already gone to bed, Naruto decided to meditate a little and get into his subconscious. It took about 15 minutes to dive in, and when Uzumaki felt water under his feet, he opened his eyes. Kurama, Uzumaki called, and two red eyes appeared before him. We need to talk, it's important, there is information on how to get back home. The darkness began to part and Uzumaki was able to see Kurama. The fox looked somehow exhausted. I heard that conversation, the demon said immediately, not wanting to listen to a long story again and getting straight to the point. And yes, we knew that option, but we still thought that this person was alive and tried to find the source. Are you ready to take the risk? Ready. Do you know how to make it smaller? Kurama nodded. It's pretty easy, but he doesn't rule it out. Naruto looked expectantly at Kurama as the fox fell silent. Remember, during the war, you shared your chakra with the other shinobi so that you and Minato could transport them, And what? My chakra can work as a protective one, and if I ask the other tailed beasts to share, that will also reduce the risk. Okay, that's what we'll do. Naruto, I don't know how the transfer will affect you again, you can expect anything, remember, I warned you. Yes, but I don't have any desire to die here either, the fox nodded understandingly. Why are you so tired? I kept your clone long enough, snorted the fox. The others don't look any better. Speak for yourself, furry. Shukaku's voice rang out and Naruto laughed. I am grateful to you all for trying to help us. Thank you, Uzumaki smiled radiantly. When are we going to move? As soon as I recover, then right away, it's better not to drag it out, Kurama closed his eyes. Now go to bed. The fox pushed Uzumaki out of his own subconscious. As soon as the boy opened his eyes, his room appeared in front of him. That means soon, Naruto sighed. We need to get ready. He lay down and closed his eyes. Soon he would have to leave this world and return to his own. Soon. It took 2 weeks for Kurama and the other tailed beasts to recover. And when he said he was ready, the next day everyone gathered at the appointed time and place. Naruto entered a dark room where everything was already ready. There was a drawing and several seals on the floor. We will all be present, since it is unknown how much chakra will be needed, Minato said. Son, Kushina called to him. Remember, we will always love you. The woman hugged Uzumaki tightly, and then Naruto did the same, burying her face in his chest and trying to hold back her tears. You are the best brother in the world, the girl whispered. And you're a sister, the guy said, also pressing the girl's ear. Naruto turned around and met Minato's eyes. They showed his father's love, care and pain. He didn't want to leave. I'm sorry it turned out this way. Promise me that you'll take care of your son, Namikaze nodded. He loves you very much, he's just afraid that you'll be disappointed in him. Promise me that everything will be fine. I promise, Minato couldn't hold back his emotions and hugged him tightly. I love you, son. And I you. Namikaze let him go and Naruto looked at the Sannin. It was nice to see you again. They hugged and Naruto stood in a circle with the others. He saw that they also said goodbye to their families. Ready. An affirmative nod and Minato activated the technique. Uzumaki immediately distributed chakra and wrapped all 4 of them in it. Let's go. Everyone put in their chakra and Team 7, along with Gaara, glowed white. It works, Naruto whispered, biting her lip, trying to hold back her tears. Thank you for everything, Naruto said and closed his eyes. A few minutes later, the white color disappeared and the entire team of 7 and Gaara fell unconscious. Crap. Are they okay? Did we succeed? Is this how it should be? Tsunade diagnosed their condition and said that they were fine and that they could try to wake them up. Naruto, wake up. Sasuke, open your eyes. Sakura, darling. Gaara, can you hear me? Kakashi, come to your senses. A painful groan was heard from each of them and they began to open their eyes one by one. Dad, Mom, looking at his parents, the blonde asked again. I was like in a dream, the Hokage's son whispered and looked at the others. Or maybe not in a dream. What is the last thing you remember? How I went to bed before the Genin exam, that's for sure, and then I saw how I lived my life, but I didn't feel it, I don't know, it's a strange feeling. It's the same for me, Sasuke croaked. Like a dream, Gaara confirmed with a nod. They're ours, Kushina breathed a sigh of relief and hugged her son tightly to herself. Uzumaki, wake up. Naruto jumped up and started breathing heavily. He looked around and realized that he was in some kind of forest. What happened? We managed to get back. Yes, you're back. Uzumaki breathed a sigh of relief. But the problems are not over, I don't know where we are now. And what happened to the others? 21. Welcome back. Comment to 21. Welcome back, you read at your own risk. One more time, Naruto asked. He was heading towards Konoha, I think. I don't know where the rest are. When we came back, they weren't with us. Maybe they ended up somewhere else. So be it, Naruto nodded and saw the gates of Konoha. He was going the right way after all. He smiled radiantly and hurried, as 2 Anbu appeared on the way. Who are you? Uzumaki raised an eyebrow. Uzumaki Naruto, a mocking laugh was heard from under the mask. Then I am Tsunade Senju. The hero of the war died 4 years ago, Uzumaki's eyes widened. What do you mean died? Kurama, the fox said here that this is definitely their world and there can be no other. I'm telling you the truth. If you're so sure, Then you'll go to the Hokage. Uzumaki nodded in agreement. Kurama, what do you think we've gotten ourselves into again? I don't know. Again into some ass. Naruto moved away from the Anbu and said that he knew perfectly well where the residence was, he was not going to attack them and he would go himself. They walked along the streets so that the Uzumaki would not be noticed by the residents and cause panic. Having reached the residence, and then the Hokage's office, one of the Anbu knocked on the door and they were allowed to enter. Kakashi-sensei was sitting at the table, filling out some papers. Hokage-sama, what kind of idiotic joke is this? Hitaki's voice was icy, making Naruto swallow. Hokage-sama, we met this shinobi on our way to the village. He claims to be Uzumaki Naruto. Hitaki stood up and walked straight towards Uzumaki. Naruto took a step back as Hitaki grabbed him by the collar of his jacket and pulled him towards him. Listen here, if you don't take off your hunj right now, I will personally hand you over to Ibiki, and then to Yamanaka. Got me? How dare you take on the form of Kakashi-sensei, it's really me. Uzumaki screamed. I don't know what happened, really. I woke up not that far from the village, I didn't find you and the guys. Kurama said that this is definitely our world, but everyone says that I died 4 years ago. The guy blurted out in one breath and Kakashi let go, then looked into the blonde's blue eyes. Bring Sasuke and Sakura Uchiha to me, he gave the order to the two Anbu and they left. Uchiha, they got married. Prove that you're him, Hitaki demanded, still looking into his eyes. Because we were in a parallel world, where most are alive. You were there too, but much later than us. We were also with you en route. Damn, Uzumaki breathed out, and Hitaki hugged him tightly. We thought you were dead. What? But why? When we woke up, everyone was there except you, Hitaki broke the embrace. And we thought that this was the same risk, the Hokage gritted his teeth. We returned to the village and began to investigate how Sasuke, Sakura and Gaara ended up alive. Since more time had passed since their disappearance than since mine, we were able to settle this matter, only a few know where we really were. And now, a year has passed since we returned. Hokage-sama, Sasuke's eyes widened at the sight of the blonde and he reached for his weapon. Sasuke, this is Naruto, Kakashi stopped him. Where is Sakura? Oh, you remember me. Naruto. Hello, Uzumaki smiled awkwardly. It looks like there was a risk after all, and here are the consequences. That's right, you came back later than us. Dobi, Sasuke hugged his old friend and Sakura joined their embrace. I'm so glad you're alive and we're back. Naruto smiled happily. Comment to 21. Welcome back. That's it, this is one of the old fanfics that I started writing when I found out about FIC book. Maybe someone won't like the ending, but that's it. Yes, the characters will remember how they lived with their family. There are quite a lot of questions. Let's say, what happened in that world? And a lot more questions, but I'll leave that to you. Thanks to everyone who wrote comments and waited for the continuation, I was very pleased. I hope that most people will like this ending. I love everyone.